It's Thursday, October 23rd. Today, the wheels on the bus go round and round. Why some Transcona residents say Winnipeg transit buses are doing more of that on their street. Charged in a double homicide where police tracked down the suspects in the shooting deaths of 2 people in Victoria Beach. And later, a new home for an injured lynx, the group that will now care for this 6-month-old cat. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. We're so excited. Over the next 3 hours, we're going to be at the Dalnavert Museum. It's one of my favorite places in the city. It's a lovely spot, especially at Christmas time, but it's also a really fun spot to visit during Halloween season, and it has its own ghost story. So we're going to find out a little bit more from Ainsley McPhail. She's going to give us a tour of the facility and also tell us about some of those spooky stories as well. But the weather wasn't too bad yesterday, a little cooler this morning again. But
and you know what? If you liked yesterday, Rochelle, you're going to love what we have served up today. But for those also who've been finding it a little cool, we have a little treat for you coming this weekend. Right now, though, we're still below freezing, -3 degrees. We're kind of starting to feel the season a lot more as our temperatures are a little bit slow to lift above that freezing mark in those first hours of the morning. It's a couple clouds out there, decently cool. Misread my icon there. Winds out of the northwest, very light. The barometric pressure is rising. The humidity sits at 100%. So yes, lots on the way in terms of sunshine. Yesterday we started off under a good amount of cloud coverage, but as you can see, we're looking very clear along our radar. However, we have been contending with some light instability to the north. There was a slight chance of some rainfall and maybe some flurry activity to the north. You can see that little spattering there, still very much situated over northern Manitoba. So that risk does continue for you today, particularly in the northeast. Some cloud coverage into the afternoon, noon in the north, while we get fairly clear into the afternoon. Lots of sunshine to enjoy. Temperatures for us will be around seasonal. That's for Winnipeg and surrounding areas. Meanwhile, the southwest, a few degrees warmer, as has been the case for the last couple of days, in the low teens. As the evening progresses, maybe a couple clouds for us, but pretty overcast to the north. Some fog anticipated as well. And then we see that smattering of activity, potential for some rainfall while we stay nice and dry. I mentioned it's going to be decent today, 7 degrees, but tomorrow's when that real warm-up comes, 10 on Friday into the mid-teens by the weekend.
Thank you, Catherine. A shake-up for Winnipeg transit routes are causing shaking at several Winnipeg homes. This past June, the City of Winnipeg made a massive change to Winnipeg Transit, but residents on 1 Transcona Street say they're now seeing more buses and is damaging their homes. CTV's John Hendricks shows us the impact.
If you're looking to catch a bus on Victoria Avenue East, you'll have plenty of chances. They rumble by every few minutes. And the bus's frequent presence isn't just being seen in the neighborhood. Residents say it's being felt.
We have cupboard shaking, we got a wall shaking, we have seismic damage showing up, we have cracks on this side of the wall.
Aaron Ween says the problems began at the end of June, when the city altered bus routes around the city as part of its new transit network. Suddenly, more buses started going down the 2-lane residential street, some double-sized articulated buses.
It's twice as much weight, twice as much energy.
Energy Weens and others believe is being transferred into the homes on Victoria Avenue East.
The house rattles. If I have any pictures on my far wall, they will fall off.
And it wasn't just pictures on the wall reacting to the buses going by. A crack emerged on Jade Ducharme's window, and a crack is now on Aaron Ween's garage.
That's new. We got one like I said, we got one of the foundation runs right across.
The city and transit have to do something. This is just crazy.
And that something is for Winnipeg Transit to take the buses off their street. And soon.
Maybe they've got too many buses for the frequency there. Maybe they don't have enough, probably too many. But they'll be reviewing that. If they have to remove some of the buses, they will.
John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Janice Luke says while the review is ongoing, reducing the speed of the buses on the street could be a short-term solution. In a statement to CTV News, a city spokesperson says in part, our planners did consider sending the FX3 down Pandora Avenue East. However, there are fewer potential passengers on that road, and it is already served by a feeder route. Having service on both Victoria Avenue East and Pandora Avenue East means shorter walks to reach a stop for people living and working on either side of both of those streets. We're not considering changing the route at this time. Cannabis stashed in a safe and staff rolling joints. That's what a Winnipeg courtroom heard Tuesday as a foster care organization pled guilty to giving children cannabis. Spirit Rising House, which operated 14 foster homes in Manitoba, made the plea as part of a bargain to stay charges against its directors and staff. A judge is instead ordering Spirit Rising pay $35,000 in fines. The organization's lawyer told the court the organization had no ill intent. Spirit Rising House primarily cared for highly vulnerable youth needing intensive support due to substance abuse and trauma. The defense said cannabis was used to manage the youth's behavior and was offered as an alternative to potentially using substances that could be more harmful. However, the Crown argued out of everyone given cannabis, only 2 people actually had prescriptions for it. A group of students says it's time WAB Canoe makes good on a promise to reinstate health care for international students.
The Healthcare for All Coalition to call on this government to tell us when they're going to be reinstating health care.
A coalition of advocates, community organizations, and students rallied at Canoe's constituency office Wednesday. The group says Canoe promised to reinstate health care benefits for international students during his last election campaign. The group says it's been 2 years since the election, yet nothing has been done.
International students bring millions into the province. They are our neighbors, they are our volunteers, they are the people we work with, and it's just not fair and not very Manitoban-like for us to exclude such a large demographic who contributes so heavily in the province.
The former Conservative government removed health care benefits for international students in 2018. It's been nearly 6 months since 2 young children went missing in Nova Scotia, and we're now hearing from their paternal grandmother.
Your grandchildren are what you leave this world. They're a part of you. I hold them all accountable. I don't know how 2 kids can go missing.
Belinda Gray says she hasn't seen her grandchildren, Lily and Jack Sullivan, in years after her relationship with the children's mother declined. The 2 children were reported missing from their home in Pictou County on May 2nd. Gray says she joined the search herself, but that hope quickly turned to suspicion for her after the children's mother left the area. RCMP say they've combed through every possible lead, but Gray feels police could have acted faster. Ontario Premier Doug Ford says he understands fans' frustrations over the price of World Series tickets.
My personal opinion, I got to talk to the whole team, but they're gouging the people. When you have one player in the market that controls the tickets, that's not right for the people.
World Series tickets sold out in about 30 minutes, with many popping back on in the resale market at eye-popping prices. Premier Ford now says his government is considering legislation to cap resale prices, but it was his government that scrapped part of a law limiting resale markups to 50%. A Liberal MPP tabled a motion yesterday to bring back the policy. Now to Winnipeg High School football, where the playoff season is kicking off. In JV 12 semifinal action Wednesday night, Oak Park High School beat out St. Paul's High 37-2. And over in St. Vital, Dakota Collegiate shut out Vincent Massey Collegiate, winning 53-0. If that was enough playoff action for you, Quad A varsity consolation semifinals were held Wednesday night. Brandon's Crocus Plains Secondary won its final against River East Collegiate 35-28. And Sturgeon Heights Collegiate beat out Kelvin by a hair at 23-21. Varsity playoffs continue today. Here's what's happening now in traffic along the St. James Bridge. It looks like things are moving well over here, starting off this Thursday morning. If you see any problems out there, please let us know. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who is live at the Dalnavert Museum. It's a spooky place to be, especially at this time of year. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. Yeah, I feel like I've hopped onto the set of Bridgerton, although that might not have been historically accurate. They do have some areas set up for spooky time, but looking into the Victorian era, they do have an event for the 31st here at Dalnavert. There weren't too many activities that I thought we do today. A lot of them were actually about love and marriage and finding out who your partner is. How funny is that? So they'd peel an apple and then throw it over their head, and then they look behind them, and if they saw an initial, that was the initial of the person they were going to marry. Or they looked in a mirror and saw the person. If only it was that easy, eh, Rochelle? How funny is that? But anyways, we're talking about a lot of these traditions. There's a reading with Edgar Allan Poe's works in the parlor, so we're going to be talking about that as well, and just having a blast throughout the morning.
All right. Thank you, Ainsley. We'll check in a little later. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It's a beautiful start to the day so far. A little cooler, though.
Yes, you know what? There's a bite in the air. It really does start to feel more like October these last couple of days, and it's evidenced in our mercury. It's sludging, there's a word, struggling to get above freezing. At least it takes a couple of hours now in the morning to reach that point. We're starting off at -5 degrees. It's nice and clear out here, whereas yesterday was pretty overcast. Winds are light out of the west-northwest. The barometric pressure is rising. Humidity at 99%. Okay, to northern Manitoba, good amount of sunshine on the way for you. Patch of cloud here or there. However, in the northeast, you continue to have a chance of some flurry activity, maybe some rainfall mixed in. In fact, Churchill already getting some snow this morning. It's likely not going to stick around through the day, but that chance is there, very slight. Temperatures in that region will be the kind of mid-single digits, so hovering around the 5-degree mark, which is a little bit above seasonal for you. In southern Manitoba, we here in Winnipeg, lots of sunshine for us to enjoy today, some light winds. Temperatures around seasonal, that means 7 for us. It is a bit warmer to the southwest of us. Areas in Brandon, Neepawa, Dauphin, you will be seeing likely highs in the low teens with plenty of sunshine as well.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Fall into fashion with your Morning Winnipeg for your chance to win. To help warm up your wardrobe, we're giving away 3 $500 shopping sprees from Outlet Collection Winnipeg. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and submit your details, and make sure to join us on Fashion Fridays for the latest in fall fashion from Outlet Collection Winnipeg. Good morning. 2 men are charged with second-degree murder for the shooting deaths of 2 people in a Manitoba beach town. And while this incident happened here, suspects were arrested at opposite ends of the country.
I can say that the suspects and victims were known to each other. And at this time, we believe the male victim was targeted by the suspects, and that the female victim was killed for being at that specific residence in Victoria Beach when the suspects arrived.
On June 20th, 41-year-old Melissa Wilson and 29-year-old Sly Thiebert were shot and killed at a property in Victoria Beach. RCMP say they started tracking the 2 suspects days after the shooting while gathering evidence here in Manitoba. On October 7th, 28-year-old Mitchell Johansson of Grand Marais was arrested in Abbotsford, BC. And on Wednesday, Nathaniel Moore Harrison, a 31-year-old man from the RM of St. Clements, was arrested in New Minas, Nova Scotia. Mounties didn't provide a motive or say why Wilson and Thiebert were targeted.
While 2 arrests have been made, we are confident that there are people in the Victoria Beach and Travis Bay area who have additional information as to what occurred that evening. Now is the time to come forward and to share with us what you know. These homicides have deeply affected 2 grieving families, countless loved ones, and created concern for so many residents in the Victoria Beach area and the province of Manitoba.
Both men are charged with second-degree murder. Those charges have not been tested in court. The investigation is ongoing. Bad advice from the Canada Revenue Agency could be hitting your wallet. The Federal Auditor General says responses to individual tax questions from callers are only correct 17% of the time. As CTV's Jeff Keel shows you now, people could be losing out on benefits or getting dinged for making a wrong claim because of the errors.
Navigating through Canada's tax system can be daunting for the average person.
Ever since I was old enough to do taxes, just always had someone else to do it. I'm not knowledgeable enough, and I don't have a problem in saying that either.
And it appears even staff at the Canada Revenue Agency may not be as knowledgeable as they should be. Canada's Auditor General says over a 4-month period this year, they placed 167 calls to the CRA asking questions. Responses to business tax or general benefits questions were right just 54% of the time. and responses to general individual tax questions were only correct 17% of the time.
Canadians have to voluntarily fill out their tax returns. I think they should expect to reach CRA and get accurate information.
That was pretty astonishing in how low it was. Pretty disappointing to hear.
Morgan Marshall is with Community Financial Counseling Services. The organization helps low-income people with their taxes.
Tax filing is the doorway to benefits.
She says getting the wrong tax information and then making a mistake on your form could cost you in more ways than one.
It can just take a lot of mental bandwidth to deal with, and then there can also be repercussions to that if you get something paid out to you that you weren't actually eligible for.
The Auditor General also found most callers to the CRA waited an average of 31 minutes. The union representing tax workers on the prairie says staffing levels are an issue.
The agency has laid off so many employees, so many staff, especially in call centers, and they're like inundated.
I'm not prepared to say we're going to cut. I'm not prepared to say we're going to add. We're looking at it. We're going to make service better.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A Canadian cryptocurrency exchange has been slapped with a fine of almost $177 million, the largest ever penalty from Canada's Financial Intelligence Agency. Zeltox Enterprises, a BC incorporated business that operates as CryptoMus, was hit with a massive fine for failing to flag over 1,000 transactions involving dark net markets. With suspected links to criminal activity, some of the violations are connected to child exploitation, fraud, and ransomware payments. Motorists who use Wilkes Avenue in Charleswood take note there's a new set of traffic lights to look out for.
Officially turn it on here, honey.
City Councillor Evan Duncan flipped the switch to turn on the lights at Wilkes Avenue and Charleswood Road. Duncan says residential development in the area has led to more traffic and the lights are needed to improve safety.
It used to just be a straight street through on Charleswood Road, and there was never any of this housing here. So as the Ridgewood South Precinct grows out, we're going to have to continue to look at these intersections, because all I hear from residents is they don't feel safe on this road.
Developer Qualico funded the full cost, about $350,000, as part of an agreement made with the city in 2011. The city will fund maintenance and operating costs estimated at $5,000 a year. The city is testing a new method to repair bus shelters ahead of winter. Crews are beginning to install polycarbonate panels at 30 high-use shelters, 3 of which are already done. The city says the material is about 15% more expensive than safety glass, but is 250 times more impact resistant. In the past 5 years, broken shelter glass has cost the city more than $1 million. The city will monitor how the new panels work over the winter, with the option to expand to more shelters in the new year.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
Some road closures to remind you about this morning. The northbound middle lane is closed on Keewatin between Alexander and Gallagher. The eastbound should of Wilkes between Charleswood and Fairmont roads will be closed following the morning rush. And the northbound curb lane will also be closed on Main Street from Wesley to William Stevenson Way after rush hour. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us, please, at 10400.
The Bath Fitter Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Casting our eye to the sky on this clear Thursday morning, -5 degrees. With that wind chill, though, feels more like -8. We've got some light west-northwesterly winds. Pressure is rising. Humidity sits at 99%. If you liked what we had yesterday, you're going to love what we've got in store for today. But much like yesterday, the temperatures are starting off on a bit of a chillier note. All around the province, we're fairly cool compared to our compatriots in Morden and Winkler at -2 degrees. Sprague above freezing already at 1. Same goes for you folks in Kenora at 0 degrees. Over in Brandon, -3 degrees this hour. To the north, as like yesterday, it's already warmer than we're experiencing in the south. Temperatures across the board, with the exception of Gillam, starting the day above freezing. Meanwhile, not a lot to show you on our radar. A little bit of cloud coverage to the north. However, most of us are waking up to clear skies, just a little bit of brisk conditions. You'll deal with a mix of sun and cloud today as you put the kids on the bus. It'll be above freezing by the time they hit lunch at 4 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Heading home, getting up to a high of 7 once again under that mix of sun and cloud. Overnight tonight, skies stay mostly clear, a cloud or two, maybe some fog as well. Temperatures dipping down to 0. There's a difference. We're staying above freezing. From there, we're really setting a tone of some beautiful above seasonal values. Friday, picture perfect. Sunny, a high of 10 degrees. Then it gets really warm on Saturday at 15. Sunday, same goes for you, just a little bit cloudier. Your Skywatch picture of the day. This guy's overseeing some of the combining work happening there. Thanks to Diane for sending this in, and keep your weather pictures coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. A dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is spend. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word spend with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Good luck. For decades, menopause was a taboo topic for families, but health experts in Ontario are working to change that. CTV's Pauline Chan has more.
47-year-old Pinder Baines has been in perimenopause for a couple of years now with various symptoms.
I had a neurologist for headaches because I had unexplained headaches. I also had gynecological issues where I had abnormal bleeding, and at the same time, like hot flashes, brain fog, trouble concentrating.
And she says no one really prepared her for this stage in life.
Unfortunately, like in our family, nobody really talked about it.
That's why Dr. Ileana Lega says the guidelines developed by Ontario Health are so important.
So knowing how to recognize perimenopause and menopause is really key to getting the ball started on eventually treatment. There's a lot of misinformation about safety around hormone therapy, and so the guidelines really help summarize who is a good candidate for hormone therapy, how to start it, and how to maintain someone on it.
Dr. Lega says as the body changes, so do a woman's health risks.
There are many changes beyond symptoms that need to be addressed. It's a time of cardiovascular risk factor acceleration, meaning blood pressure starts creeping up.
Menopause is also associated with problems like losing bone density, diabetes, high cholesterol, and muscle loss.
I did have various different treatments that I was getting until I was able to see Dr. Lega and was put on HRT, and I can tell you that it's helped tremendously.
Dr. Lega says hormone replacement therapy is safe for the vast majority of women like Pinder, helping with hot flashes and night sweats.
It has benefits beyond that. It's very effective as a bone protecting agent. It can help with sleep. It can help to a certain extent with some joint pains and sometimes with some mood issues.
She says those perimenopausal years in your mid-40s to 50 are a good time to rethink your lifestyle, diet, alcohol intake, smoking, sleep habits, and especially exercise.
Anything you do where you move your body is very important. Ideally, there should be a strength training component as well, so muscle building.
Baines shares her information on menopause openly with her friends.
Every woman is going to be different. Every woman will have different type of symptoms, but I think within my generation and that we're going through this together.
And for more information, you can check with the Menopause Foundation of Canada or the Canadian Menopause Society. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Up to clear skies out there in Winnipeg and through much of Manitoba. It's currently -5, that wind chill making it feel a little cooler than that. Winds out of the west-northwest light at 8 clicks. Pressures rising, humidity at 99%. Yeah, we've kind of banal conditions, if you will. That's because this upper ridge has moved into the province, really locking in moderate temperatures, lovely sky conditions. However, we are going to see some deviation in our temperature on the way up into the weekend. Meanwhile, we're waking up to decently clear skies, a little bit more cloud coverage to the north and some light instability in the northeast. Churchill has already had some flurries this morning. You have a chance for that to remain off and on throughout the day. Nothing substantial. For us here, though, as mentioned, very moderate, very pleasant. A mix of sun and cloud is what we're looking at. A high of 7, which is bang on what's seasonal this time of year. Winds not ramping up too substantially out of the southeast at 10 kilometers per hour. Overnight, 1 or 2 clouds, maybe a fog patch or two. Temperatures not dipping below sea seasonal. This is a bit of a harbinger of the weekend to come. And those winds, though, they will be ramping up out of the southeast at 20 kilometers per hour. And then tomorrow we start to see things heat up a little bit. 10 degrees is what we're looking at under much stronger winds, once again out of the southeast at 20, gusting at times to 40 kilometers per hour. The weekend is a bit of a mixed bag, although not with our heat. 15 degrees is our high under lots of sunshine. Can you believe this is an overnight low? 9 degrees is what we're looking at Saturday, but we really start to see those clouds build. And from there, we're getting up to 15 degrees on Sunday with a good amount of cloud coverage. And then unfortunately, next week, we're kicking it off on a bit of a soggy note. Hope you didn't put those umbrellas away. 11 degrees on Monday, starting to taper off on Tuesday with temperatures coming down to 8.
Manitoba's police watchdog is not recommending any charges against the officer who drove over and killed a woman at a Winnipeg park last year. The woman was laying on a gravel road leading to an encampment in Fort Rouge Park, according to witnesses and the 2 officers inside the cruiser. The IIU says the vehicle was driving about 6 kilometers an hour with its headlights on at the time of the collision. But the darkness, the woman's dark clothing, and the slope of the driveway made visibility challenging. The toxicologist also noted the woman had a blood alcohol level high enough to render a person almost unconscious. A man is facing charges following a peculiar tire slashing spree in Selkirk. Mounties got several calls Saturday morning about slashed tires in and around the town northeast of Winnipeg. Officers found 45 slashed tires on 23 separate vehicles and say all the vehicles targeted were red. Later that afternoon, police caught up with a suspect and took him into custody. A 44-year-old Winnipeg man is facing 23 mischief charges and 1 charge of possession of a dangerous weapon. RCMP say they have no explanation as to why only 1 color of vehicle was targeted, but anyone else who thinks they were a victim should give them a call. Prime Minister Mark Carney made his pitch to Canadians in a campaign-style speech Wednesday, outlining an ambitious agenda ahead of next month's federal budget. But his promise of bold action came with a warning. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more on Carney's message and the pressure to deliver.
When I was your age, the Berlin Wall fell.
The Prime Minister addressing a room of university students, but speaking to all Canadians.
Our goal for Canada is to double our non-U.S. exports over the course of the next decade.
Mark Carney says that will generate $300 billion in trade.
Even with such efficiencies and with better management, we will have to do less of some of the things that we want to do so we can do more of what we must do.
The speech telegraphed broad strokes of the upcoming budget: spend less, invest more, saying it will include the long-awaited climate strategy and a new immigration plan.
We will play to win. We will bet on Canada and all Canadians.
He also spoke of working collaboratively across the aisle.
We had a good conversation. He didn't make any commitments.
Fresh off meeting opposition leaders ahead of the budget.
He needs to bring forward an affordable budget.
A minority government means the Liberals need help passing it or risk facing an election.
We've been very clear on what he would have to do to get our support. Now it's up to him.
They know our conditions, and if they wake up a little bit late, it's once again their problem.
Conservatives are trying to hold the Liberals to a $42 billion deficit. Experts, including the parliamentary budget officer, suspect it will be much higher. Carney didn't offer any specifics, but he did say transforming the economy will take sacrifices and time. The budget comes down November 4th.
U.S. forces have now struck a second vessel believed to be carrying drugs in the Pacific Ocean, killing 3 people. It comes during an escalating U.S. campaign against seaborne drug smuggling and happened just hours after the U.S. struck another boat, killing 2 others. Colombia's government has denounced the U.S. for carrying out strikes on vessels close to its coast, saying the American action was, quote, like applying the death penalty in a territory that is not yours. The 2 strikes were the first in Pacific waters. 7 previous strikes happened in the Caribbean. Together, at least 37 people have been killed. Police in Quebec have made an inter-provincial drug bust. Nearly 50 officers from multiple police services carried out the raids in the Montreal area. This drug network is alleged to have moved cocaine from Toronto for resale in Quebec. 8 people were arrested, and they made their first court appearances yesterday. 2 other suspects are still on the loose. From mod cuts and shags to mullets and fades, a Manitoba barber has hung up his clippers after more than 6 decades in the biz.
Now they're cutting it too short as far as I'm concerned.
Meet 86-year-old Leonard Garashevsky. He started cutting hair 66 years ago, primarily at his barber shop in Saint-Rose-du-Lac, about 300 kilometers northwest of Winnipeg. And now we're celebrating his retirement, just a couple weeks after he gave his final cut.
I still miss it, but I know I can't do it, so I miss it very much. It's just missing people.
Garashevsky says it's always been about the customers and their loyal support. And if you're wondering, his favorite do of all time, a classic brush cut. Congratulations to him. And here's a look at what's happening now on the Norwood Bridge. It looks like things are starting to move pretty well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you see problems out there, though, please let us know. Here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.32. The provincial average is lower at $1.29. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.31. And the lowest price in the city is $1.16. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Coming up, we're live at the Dalnavert Museum. You're looking at the dining room here, and I'm not sure if you want to eat with this guy. We'll have more after the break.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
We're starting off on a clear and slightly cool note, although this is the typical overnight lows and morning temperatures for this time of year. -5 is what we're at right now, but that dreaded wind chill making us feel more like -8. As mentioned, it's clear, not many clouds to be seen out here. Winds are light out of the west-northwest. Pressure is rising, humidity at 99%. So we're going to be dealing with a good amount of sunshine today, a mix of sun and cloud, though, to be clear. Temperatures for us in Winnipeg and many other surrounding areas, be it in the Red River Valley or Interlake, we're looking at highs typical for this time of year. For Winnipeg, that's 7. However, in the southwest, as has been a bit of a theme, you're dealing with some warmer temperatures in the low teens in certain areas. Winds will be light, skies decently clear. To the north, maybe a bit more in the way of cloud coverage. However, there has been a slight chance of some instability dogging the northeast. That continues today. In fact, Churchill has already seen some flurry activity. It's a small chance, 30%, but you might not stay dry today.
Good morning. We're at Dalnavert Museum talking about all of the spooky things happening, or maybe not so spooky and educational. Samantha Machado joins us now to tell us all about it. Tonight, I see you're holding a beautiful painting. How can people get involved?
Yeah, so tonight is our last ghost painting event of the season, and so this is a little event where we take old paintings and we make them into Halloween decor by adding spooky elements like ghosts and pumpkins and little black cats. So we've got one happening, it's tonight at 7 p.m., and this is just one of the many events that we're doing for Halloween, but you can find more information and get tickets on our website.
I've never heard of anything like this. Can people bring in their old paintings?
Yeah, if people want to. We've got plenty that we supply, but if you had something you're like, I desperately want to do this one, feel free, go for it.
I'm looking for some old paintings to wreck. Okay. When it comes to other events, there's tons on tap for Halloween. I love how I didn't even address our friends to the left here, because I feel like they're sort of dispersed throughout the museum. That's the fun part about it. What else is available?
Yeah, so we've got, during the daytime, we've got Death at Dalnavert tours. We've just finished up. We had a Halloween tea party for kids, which was a lot of fun, but we don't have that happening again. We'll be having Poe in the Parlor readings. That'll be on Friday and Saturday. As well, for Halloween, we're having a Victorian Halloween bash.
Okay, I want to break that down. Poe in the Parlor? Do people kind of, like, what's his vibe? I haven't read too much Edgar Allan Poe, I'll admit.
Well, you're missing out. So his most famous work, I think, is generally considered to be The Raven, which is going to be one of the short stories and poems that you're going to hear while you come to Poe in the Parlor. So it's very much a gothic vibe, lots of spooky elements, and you'll get to hear dramatic readings of that in the atmosphere of Dalnavert's historic parlor.
I don't know why I'm so embarrassed to admit that. I'm like, I should really be reading more Edgar Allan Poe. Okay. The 31st, what's happening?
Yes, so the 31st is our Victorian Halloween Bash, which is an opportunity to come out and have a little bit of historical Halloween fun. So if you're not the kind of person who wants to go to a raging Halloween party, this is a little bit more laid back. You're going to get to explore some historical traditions like turnip carving and parlor games, and generally learn a little bit while you have some Halloween fun.
I love that. Okay, stick around with us throughout the morning. We're at Dalnavert Museum.
Looking at the early markets, the Dow Jones is trending lower overnight. The Nasdaq and S&P index seeing little change. The loonie is flat at 71.50 cents U.S. The Hang Seng added 186 points, and the Nikkei index lost 666 points. Good morning. It is 6:46. Bail reform has become a hot-button issue across Canada, one a Manitoba family knows all too well. Their daughter was killed in a car crash, and the driver of the vehicle that allegedly hit her was out on bail at the time. CTV's Alex Carpa spoke to them about their loss and what they are demanding from Ottawa.
28-year-old Kelly Verway was killed in a car crash in January.
It was every parent's worst nightmare.
The driver of the other vehicle now faces charges including impaired driving causing death. At the time of the collision, he had a warrant out for his arrest for breaching bail conditions.
It was not an accident. It was an incident, and it caused my daughter to lose her life.
Michelle Best has been calling for changes to the bail system since Kelly was killed and is taking her concerns to Ottawa next week. Kelly's uncle Darren McDonald says the discussions around bail reform have been dragging because of a lack of political will.
There are very minimal consequences. That seems to be the message that we're sending.
Prime Minister Mark Carney announced that his government will make bail harder to get. That legislation is being tabled tomorrow. Part of that bill introduces reverse onus bail for major crimes, which requires the accused to prove why they should be released while waiting for trial, rather than the current system where the prosecution having to prove why the accused should remain in custody.
The fact that our police services are rearresting the same individuals time and time again, many of whom are out on bail and breaching their court orders. And every time that happens, especially with violent offenders, we put our frontline service members at risk.
Best wants politicians to know the human cost of repeat offenders being released.
The cost to our family, where her fiance doesn't have his wife and he doesn't start his family.
Best says she will continue to advocate for bail reform to prevent other parents from going through the same tragedy she did. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A group representing hunters is taking the province and a First Nation to court after a literal roadblock stopped hunting season in its tracks. In early September, a roadblock was erected on Rice River Road by nearby Bloodvein First Nation. At the time, Chief Lisa Young said the moose population is declining and hunters who are not from the First Nation are not welcome on its ancestral lands. The province responded to the blockade by creating buffer zones around the road and waterways. However, Manitoba Wildlife Federation says hunters are still being blocked. It wants the court to grant an injunction to stop it.
And the ultimate goal here is that, have the government realize that all Manitobans share in our provincial resources. And if we don't manage them properly and share in that they won't be here for future generations.
The chief of Bloodvein First Nation tells CTV News she's working with lawyers to fight the legal action and had no further comment. Ian Bushy, the Minister of Natural Resources and Indigenous Futures, says his government is working with the First Nations chief, MWF, and licensed hunters. An emailed statement from the minister to CTV News says, quote, conservation officers have been assigned at the check stop in Bloodvein First Nation throughout to help ensure fair and safe access to big game hunting areas on the east side of Lake Winnipeg during this year's hunting season. Bushy says he won't comment on the specifics as the matter is before the courts. King Charles is at the Vatican this morning for a historic meeting with Pope Leo. The King and Queen Camilla were greeted by church officials as they arrived for the state visit. In a symbol of unity between the Church of England and the Catholic Church, the British monarch and Pope will pray together for the first time in 500 years. The prayer will be a part of a service at the Sistine Chapel. This is also the first meeting between King Charles and Pope Leo. Some road closures to remind you about this morning. The northbound middle lane is closed on Keewatin between Alexander and Gallagher. The eastbound shoulder of Wilkes between Charleswood and Fairmont Roads will be closed following the morning rush. And the northbound curb lane will also be closed on Main Street from Wesley to Williams Stevenson Way after rush hour. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, please text them to us at 10400.
Taking a look outside, it is -5 degrees under clear skies. That wind chill, pesky wind chill, making it feel just a few degrees cooler. Winds are light out of the west-northwest. Pressure's rising. Humidity sits at 99%. Lots of sunshine on the way to the province. You can see we're already off to a clear start on our radar. A little bit more cloud coverage to the north. That'll likely break up as the day progresses. Meanwhile, there is still that slight chance of instability in this region. So about a 30% shot at some flurry activity, maybe some rain mixed in there. Churchill has already seen that this morning. 3 degrees, though, which are decent highs in Churchill and Gillam, 4 in Thompson and Island Lake. And as you can see, the further east you go, the more sunshine you're likely to get today. Warmer temperatures above seasonal in the northwest, a mix of sun and cloud for you, but a little bit cloudier in Lynn Lake. Meanwhile, Norway House also has a slight chance at some mixed precipitation today, likely showing up in the form of rainfall. To the southwest, once again, likely to be the hot spot of the province today. Above seasonal highs, 11 across the board, with the exception of Nipoa there at 9. Mix of sun and cloud for you with light winds. For us here in Winnipeg and surrounding regions, seasonal highs, mix of sun and cloud and light winds for us. Into the northwest, much the same in terms of our conditions, if not a bit cooler, but a little bit cloudy in Dryden and Fort Francis, mix of sun and cloud for Kenora and Red Lake. We've got quite the weekend in store for us. Thursday, as today, is going to be our coolest for quite a few to come. Friday, we're getting up to a high of 10 degrees today under those clear sunny skies. Saturday, even warmer, 15 degrees. Can you believe our overnight low at 10 degrees? That's going to be warmer than what we're going to get to today. And then Sunday, we cloud over at 16 degrees, but overnight likely to get some rainfall. And we start off next work week on a soggy note, 13 degrees. Likely that's going to continue into Tuesday as that temperature starts to come back down to reality. 9 degrees is what we're looking at. We get the sunshine back on Wednesday with a high of 8 degrees.
Thanks, Catherine. An injured lynx will soon have a forever home after weeks of treatment at Wildlife Haven. The feline is being taken in by Assiniboine Park Zoo. And as CTV's Joseph Bernacki reports, her new name reflects her origins.
This is Lumi. Her name means snow in Finnish.
We've just announced the lynx is in fact going to be transferred into care at the Assiniboine Park Zoo.
The 6-month-old cat is still recovering from a dog attack in August, where it's believed the pack likely killed her mother. Swan River locals drove 10 hours to bring her here to Wildlife Haven Rehabilitation Center, where they've been treating her injured eye, bringing in Manitoba's only veterinarian ophthalmologist.
Some of that damage is irreparable, unfortunately, and will require some pretty intensive surgeries and care going forward.
Luckily for Lumi, the road to recovery has been smooth so far. But she can't be released to the wild because her eye has developed a cataract, leaving her vision impaired.
She's been doing fantastic. You know, our team has done a lot of really good work in making sure that she's got all these enrichment items in her enclosure.
But she can't stay at the Haven forever, so Assiniboine Park Zoo staff answered the call.
They're able to work with us as a partner to transition this lynx into our care, where it can live a very fulfilling life as an ambassador for its species and connect with our community.
Enright said the zoo has a long history of looking after lynx. They lost their former cat Bijou earlier this year at 22. Enright calls lynx the ghosts of the forest.
They have these gigantic feet to walk on the snow, but most people, even those who spend time in the boreal forest, never get to see a lynx.
It's not clear when or if Lumi will be on display to the public. Enright said she will need more surgery, but she'll be well looked after. Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Haunted, spooky, or just plain fun? Here at Your Morning Winnipeg, we love Halloween, especially those decorated yards and homes, and that's why we're looking for a Halloween house to highlight during our October 31st show. If you think yours fits the bill, you could win a $500 gift card from St. Mary's Nursery and Garden Center and have the chance to show off your Halloween house live on Your Morning Winnipeg with a visit from Ainsley McPhail. To enter, head to our contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca, fill out the form, and submit some pictures. Good luck. The reigning champion LA Dodgers have plenty of firepower, but the Jays also have their share of star power. CTV's Heather Wright compares the two sides ahead of Game 1 of the World Series.
Town versus Hogtown, Hollywood versus, well, Hollywood North. The World Series heads to Toronto this week. Two teams, two cities, but only one champion.
Nervous, a little bit of an upset tummy, but I think we can do it. I think the Blue Jays have more spirit. They play like the team is even all the way down from 1 to 9, and they play like a team.
As they were at the start of the season, the Dodgers are the betting favorites to win their second World Series title in as many years.
She's gone!
Well, the Blue Jays have gone from worst to first, finishing dead last in the American League in 2024 to winning it all this year.
I think that it's anybody's game, and I think the Jays are the underdogs, and the underdogs always come out.
The LA Dodgers have won 8 World Series in their history compared to 2 for the Toronto Blue Jays. And when it comes to payroll, both teams may be big spenders, but LA has doled out far more cash for stars like Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts.
The Dodgers' payroll is closer to $350 million, whereas the Blue Jays is about $250. So $100 million, that's a huge gap, right? That's another Shohei Ohtani or two, right? That they can afford with that difference.
And while the Dodgers took the season series against the Blue Jays 2-1, the Jays have the better regular season record and have earned home field advantage because of it, which at least one statistician says gives the Jays a slight edge.
When I did a simple statistical model and just tried to put it all together, I'm currently estimating Toronto with a 52.46% chance of winning the World Series.
At the end of the day, though, there really is only one number that matters, and that is 4. 4 games to win the World Series. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Here's a look at what's happening right now on Main Street. Emergency crews are there at Main and York due to a fire. There are lane closures in the area, so you can expect some delays in this part of the city. Be aware of that. We'll be back after this break. It's Thursday, October 23rd. Today, a major update. Who has been arrested following a double homicide in Victoria Beach? Plus, on shaky ground, why some Transcona residents are unhappy about the new transit routes. And a caretaking tool, how a new website can help Manitobans navigate parenting. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. It is 7 o'clock, and we have a lot in the next hour, including details of the pumpkin promise. A man is taking these giant pumpkins into his yard. He's carving them into cool things, and he's doing it for a good cause. So we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. He's been doing this for 12 years. We're going to tell you why he's doing it and the tools he's using to carve these giant pumpkins as well.
I stick with the triangle eye. I'm basic, so I'm going to be very interested to hear.
It's a lot of work to carve those pumpkins.
It is. Dig it out.
Yes,
get all
and
the
it's
gunk
messy, but it's fun. The kids love it. What's the weather going to be like today?
You know, it is feeling very fall, very October, very autumnal, perfect for pumpkin carving. It is a little bit chilly to kick us off, but I shouldn't even say the word chilly because we are used to these temperatures. This is typical for this time of year. It's -5 degrees and clear. Winds are out of the west-northwest. Pressure is rising. The humidity sits at 99%. A very typical fall day on the way with lots of sunshine to enjoy, particularly in the south. You can see on our radar, there is a touch of cloud coverage blanketing the north, but it's nice and clear to kick us off. We'll be joined by a little bit of cloud coverage as the day persists, a mix of sun and cloud. Meanwhile, you see kind of the smattering of activity across the north. Slight chance of some flurries, maybe even some rainfall for much of the northeast. Churchill's already seen some flurry activity this morning. As the day progresses, you see a little bit more of that while we stay nice and clear. And we're also going to deal with some light winds, although they will be ramping up overnight as we maybe get 1 or 2 clouds. Starting off the day, fairly overcast, especially in the northwest. Maybe a smattering there of flurry activity. The northeast a little bit clearer, while we too have a clear start to our Friday. And from there, our temperatures really set to heat up with lots of sunshine on the way for the Friday for much of Manitoba. In terms of our temperatures, today is going to be our coolest one for many to come. But by cool, I mean seasonal. 7 degrees is our high, very typical temperature for this time of year under that mix of sun and cloud. Overnight, temperatures temperatures not even going below freezing, 0 degrees, and that's really marking a shift here. Friday, lots of sunshine, mercury starting to heat up at 10 degrees, overnight staying above freezing at 3. Saturday, 15 degrees under the sunshine. Sunday, even warmer. Your weather art of the day, this one drawn by Rosalie. A gorgeous shot there. I believe that's an apple tree. Just a really lovely job. Love the flowers, Rosalie. And meanwhile, if you have any of your kids' weather-themed artwork that you'd love to share, send us a photo to winnipegweather@ctv.ca, because we're featuring one every day here on Your Morning Winnipeg.
The weather art of the day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
2 men are charged with second-degree murder for the shooting deaths of 2 people in a Manitoba beach town. And while this incident happened here, suspects were arrested at opposite ends of the country.
And say that the suspects and victims were known to each other. And at this time, we believe the male victim was targeted by the suspects, and that the female victim was killed for being at that specific residence in Victoria Beach when the suspects arrived.
On June 20th, 41-year-old Melissa Wilson and 29-year-old Sly Thiebert were shot and killed at a property in Victoria Beach. RCMP say they started tracking the 2 suspect days after the shooting while gathering evidence here in Manitoba. On October 7th, 28-year-old Mitchell Johansson of Grand Marais was arrested in Abbotsford, BC. And on Wednesday, Nathaniel Moore Harrison, a 31-year-old man from the RM of St. Clements, was arrested in New Minas, Nova Scotia. Mounties didn't provide a motive or say why Wilson and Thiebert were targeted.
While 2 arrests have been made, we are confident that there are people in the Victoria Beach and Travis Bay area who have additional information as to what occurred that evening. Now is the time to come forward and to share with us what you know. These homicides have deeply affected 2 grieving families, countless loved ones, and created concern for so many residents in the Victoria Beach area and the province of Manitoba.
Both men are charged with second-degree murder. Those charges have not been tested in court. The investigation is ongoing. A shakeup for Winnipeg transit routes are causing shaking at several Winnipeg homes. This past June, the City of Winnipeg made a massive change to Winnipeg Transit, but residents on 1 Transcona street say they're now seeing more buses, and it's damaging their homes. CTV's John Hendricks shows us the impact.
If you're looking to catch a bus on Victoria Avenue East, you'll have plenty of chances. They rumble by every few minutes. And the bus's frequent presence isn't just being seen in the neighborhood. Residents say it's being felt.
We have cupboard shaking, we got a wall shaking, we have seismic damage showing up, we have cracks on this side of the wall.
Aaron Ween says the problems began at the end of June, when the city altered bus routes around the city as part of its new transit network. Suddenly, more buses started going down the 2-lane residential street, some double-sized articulated buses.
It's twice as much weight, twice as much energy.
Energy Weens and others believe is being transferred into the homes on Victoria Avenue East.
The house rattles. If I have any pictures on my far wall, they will fall off.
And it wasn't just pictures on the wall reacting to the buses going by. A crack emerged on Jade Ducharme's window, and a crack is now on Aaron Ween's garage.
That's new. We got one like I said, we got one of the foundation runs right across.
The city and transit have to do something. This is just crazy.
And that something is for Winnipeg Transit to take the buses off their street. And soon.
Maybe they've got too many buses for the frequency there. Maybe they don't have enough, probably too many. But they'll be reviewing that. If they have to remove some of the buses, they will.
John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Janice Luke says while the review is ongoing, reducing the speed of the buses on the street could be a short-term solution. In a statement to CTV News, a city spokesperson says, in part, our planners did consider sending the FX3 down Pandora Avenue East. However, there are fewer potential passengers on that road, and it is already served by a feeder route. Having service on both Victoria Avenue East and Pandora Avenue East means shorter walks to reach a stop for people living and working on either side of both of those streets. We're not considering changing the route at this time. A tiny microchip is helping people living with a rare eye disease see again. The disease is called geographical atrophy, which causes the slow deterioration of the macula. It affects about 5 million people around the world. A microchip is inserted into the retina, which projects an enlarged image into a pair of augmented reality glasses. Doctors say 80% of trial participants had some of their sight restored. There's a new resource to help new and expecting parents. So the province Wednesday unveiled a new parenting website complete with more than 120 articles related to children's health and development. Topics include breastfeeding, safe sleep, mental health, and nutrition. There's also specific links for Indigenous and newcomer families. The health minister says it was developed by local public health nurses, early childhood experts, and others.
Before we created the site, we asked Manitoba parents what mattered most to them. And they told us they really wanted easy to read, evidence-based articles that reflected real-life concerns. The ability to search for the information by age, stage, and by topic. So that's exactly what we did.
Officials noted the articles on the website can be translated into more than 200 languages. You can find all the details by heading to parentinginmanitoba.ca. The Louvre Museum's director now says a weak and aging security system left them open to the theft of millions of dollars of French crown jewels. Speaking publicly for the first time since the heist on Sunday, the director told French senators that the only camera monitoring the exterior wall of the Louvre where thieves broke in what was pointing away from the first floor balcony that led to the Gallery of Apollo, which was housing the jewels. Despite the museum's huge volume of visitors, which was 8.7 million last year alone, investment in security has been slow, with the director highlighting budget challenges big institutions face. When you think of black cats, you probably think of bad luck, but not in Salem, Massachusetts.
He's beautiful. He's so soft.
Black cats are the star of the show there, especially at this time of year. The biggest star may just be Lucifer. He's a favorite around the city. His owner says he thinks it's because he's so calm, allowing anyone to pet him. Here's a look at what's going on now on Main Street. Emergency crews are at Main Street and York due to a fire. There are lane closures in the area, so you can expect some delays over here, or find an alternate route. If you have any other traffic tips to share, please text them to us at 10400.
Weather is brought to you by MJ the Musical at Centennial Concert Hall, November 5th to 9th.
Let's go back now to the Dalnavert Museum. Looking really pretty there this morning, Ainsley, but it's also a creepy place to visit at this time of year.
Good morning, Rochelle.
Good morning.
I bet there are haunted stories. There's some books out front talking about haunted Manitoba. There's some signs everywhere that says don't touch the artifacts, but it didn't say don't touch all of the decor. So when you come to Dalnavert, poke your head around. I know that they have some special Halloween tours. They've got a Victorian event on the 31st, and they have an event tonight where you can use one of their old paintings or even bring in your own and make it Halloween. Hey, maybe even wear your costume. It's interesting looking at some of the parallels between the Victorian era and how they celebrated Halloween. They were very obsessed with the paranormal. They did a lot of homemade costumes, and while they didn't focus on blood and gore, they might have put soot or something otherworldly as their costume. So stay with us throughout the morning as we all learn together.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Let's go out to the rooftop now. How's it feeling? Is it a little cool this morning?
It is. I just wanted to comment. I feel like that chapeau really suits Ainsley.
I know.
It was like so dramatic and nice. Yeah, she looks great. Okay, yes. So it is a little bit brisk out here. Starting to see the sunshine start to peek up. We're still about an hour away from that, but it's kind of creating this cool ombre effect in the sky. It's -3 degrees. It is decently clear. 1 or 2 clouds here or there. Winds out of the west-northwest, pressure rising, humidity at 99%. So it looks like that snowfall that Churchill was dealing with has tapered off. However, you are dogged by about a 30% shot of some rainfall or snowfall throughout the northeast throughout the day. That region a little bit cooler in the kind of low single digits for your highs. Decent amount of sunshine for you. The northwest a little bit warmer, above seasonal, maybe around the 6-7 degree mark for your highs under that mix of sun and cloud. The southwest, I understand, Brandon, you were starting off the day with some frozen fog. I mentioned it was a clear start to the day. I got to retract that. That doesn't show up on the radar, but yes, Even though it's starting off on a bit of a denser note, you'll deal with a mix of sun and cloud. Above seasonal values through much of that region at about the 10-degree mark for your highs. Here in Winnipeg, a little bit colder, a mix of sun and cloud, high of 7 degrees, light winds. They ramp up overnight, though, out of the southeast as temperatures hover around the freezing mark through much of southern Manitoba. And then tomorrow, we start to see things heat up. Lots of sunshine on Friday under mainly clear skies and a high of 10.
Thank you, Catherine. It's time now for our question of the day. It's National Horror Movie Day. We want to know, what's your favorite scary movie? You can text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. It's time for our Pet of the Week. With the weather getting cooler, making you want to curl up under a blanket, this week we're celebrating Coda. Coda's family tells us he's catching up on some sleep on this lazy morning on Lake of the Woods. They adopted this now 5-year-old pooch when he was about 9 weeks old and say he is always happy to greet people. Coda's favorite things are treats, good food, walks in the park, and attention. Congratulations to this good boy. We love your Pet of the Week submissions, so keep them coming, please. Share a photo and a fun story of your pet, dog, cat, bird, or anybody at petoftheweek@ctv.ca, and then make sure to watch Thursdays to see if your pet is named our Pet of the Week. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this. Good morning. Cannabis stashed in a safe and staff rolling joints. That's what a Winnipeg courtroom heard Tuesday as a foster care organization pled guilty to giving children cannabis. Spirit Rising House, which operated 14 foster homes in Manitoba, made the plea as part of a bargain to stay charges against its directors and staff. A judge is instead ordering Spirit Rising pay $35,000 in fines. The organization's lawyer told the court the organization had no ill intent. Spirit Rising House primarily cared for highly vulnerable youth needing intensive support due to substance abuse and trauma. The defense said cannabis was used to manage the youth's behavior and was offered as an alternative to potentially using substances that could be more harmful. However, the Crown argued out of everyone given cannabis, only 2 people actually had prescriptions for it. First-year students heading to Winnipeg's Canadian Mennonite University will be the first to get this unique perk. The school is offering free dormitory housing for all first-year undergraduate students beginning next fall. CMU believes it's the first post-secondary school in Canada to offer such a program, which is open to both domestic and international students. It was made possible by the support of a single anonymous donor. The university notes the dorm building just finished a multi-million-dollar renovation, adding geothermal heating and cooling, new washrooms, and accessibility upgrades. Now to Winnipeg High School football, where the playoff season is kicking off. In JV 12 semifinal action, Wednesday night, Oak Park High School beat out St. Paul's High 37-2. And over in St. Vital, Dakota Collegiate shut out Vincent Massey Collegiate, winning 53-0. If that wasn't enough playoff action for you, Quad A varsity consolation semifinals were held Wednesday night. Brandon's Crocus Plains Secondary won its final against River East Collegiate 35-28. And Sturgeon Heights Collegiate beat out Kelvin by a hair at 23-21. Varsity playoffs continue today. Here's another look at what's happening now on Main Street. Emergency crews are at Main and York due to a fire. There are lane closures in the area, so you can expect some delays over here. Police and cadets are helping direct traffic. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, please text them to us.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Time now for some entertainment news. She's bringing that iconic sound back to Canada. Miss Lauryn Hill is hitting the road for an intimate cross-country tour, and it all starts right here in Winnipeg. The Grammy-winning artist and Fugees legend kicks off her Artist-in-Residence tour November 19th at the Burton Cummings Theatre. She'll hit 8 cities, including Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, her first Canadian show since 2023. Recently, Hill's made surprise appearances with YG Marley, Wyclef Jean, and even Drake. Tickets go on sale Friday at noon. For details, head to MissLaurynHill.com. The 10th annual Manitoba Country Music Awards are almost here. That's Manitoba's Doc Walker. The duo is playing host for the event. It's Manitoba's biggest celebration of country music. The night features live performances and awards handed out for the best in the business. Last year was a sellout. It takes place Saturday, November 8th at the Club Regent Event Center. For more information and tickets, visit the Manitoba Country Music Association website. Here's one for all the fans of the Backstreet Boys and Taylor Swift. AJ McLean posted this video to social media, which featured a mashup of Swift's new song, Elizabeth Taylor, and the Backstreet Boys' classic track, Everybody. And Taylor Swift appeared thrilled about it, commenting, "Oh, hi, AJ. Oh, my God." Hell's Kitchen heats up your primetime lineup at 7. 911 Nashville follows at 8. Grey's Anatomy is next at 9. And at 10, catch Georgie and Manny's First Marriage. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
The Bathfitter Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
I was listening to that mashup on repeat yesterday, and yes, AJ was my favorite Backstreet Boy. It's -3 degrees as that sun starts to peek out. The wind chill cooling us down a little bit from there. Conditions, a couple clouds here or there, although this picture is showing pretty clear skies. Barometric pressure rising, humidity sits at 99%. Good amount of sunshine on the way. Maybe not a ton of heat just yet. Much of the southern parts of our province are still struggling to get above freezing, as is typical for this time of year, with the exception of Portage hovering there at 0. However, northern Manitoba has dealt with a decently warm morning. 1 degree in Island Lake, Gillam and Churchill at 0. That flurry activity seems to have tapered off in the Churchill region. 2 degrees in Thompson, 1 in Lynn Lake, hovering at 0 in the Paw. In terms of our skies, decently clear, although Brandon is dealing with some freezing fog this morning. That actually, fog doesn't pick up on our radar. To the north, you can see slightly more overcast. As you put the kids on the bus, a mix of sun and clouds, still below freezing, -2 degrees, heating up by lunch hour at 4, and as they head home, we'll be up to our high of 7 degrees, still under that mix of sun and cloud with some light winds. Overnight, 1 or 2 clouds, maybe some fog, not only for us here in Winnipeg, but through much of the province. 0 degrees. We could see that fog stick around into the morning, but afterwards, a decently clear and very warm day. 10 degrees will be our high, staying above freezing overnight at 3 degrees. Then on Saturday, maybe our most beautiful day, 15 degrees with clear skies, though we do get warmer on Sunday at 16. We do see skies start to cloud over, excuse me. Rainfall potentially coming overnight, likely sticking into Monday before tapering off Tuesday. Your Skywatch picture of the day, a very good boy helping with the combining there. Thanks to Diane for snapping this pic in Notre Dame de Lourdes. If you have any weather pictures to share, you can email us to that address on your screen.
Thanks, Catherine. Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. A dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is SPEND. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word SPEND with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Good luck. Ontario's Premier has revealed his government is looking at cracking down on ticket resellers for the World Series, which starts in Toronto tomorrow. Those tickets sold out quickly, only to pop up on the resale market with a massive markup. CTV's Siobhan Morris reports.
Outside the Rogers Centre, the headquarters for so much joy the last few days, everyone has a story of woe of being denied a coveted World Series ticket.
I was, I think, 138,000 in the queue for Game 6.
I wasn't able to get any. It's been crazy.
The tickets vanished in a flash. The resale market that took over.
Too expensive.
Fans have reported tickets listed for north of $25,000. That's what some Torontonians pay for rent in a whole year.
They need to do something about it. People shouldn't be making a business from reselling tickets. It just doesn't make sense.
The Premier has heard those frustrations and is considering changes.
In my personal opinion, I got to talk to the whole team, but they're gouging the people. When you have one player in the market that controls the tickets, that's not right for the people. So we're reviewing that right now.
Doug Ford says he'll look at reviving a legislative move his government killed in its early days. It would cap the price for a resale ticket at 50% markup. In 2018, Ford's office said the measure introduced by the Liberals couldn't actually be enforced. But Blue Jays fans are giving this a standing ovation.
That's a really reasonable thing to do. It allows people to actually afford to come into games and shows that you want to be able to see.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Like, price gouging is out of control.
I think that's something good. I think the amount people are trying to make off other people, I think is unfair.
Opposition parties don't think the government should have shut down the anti-scalping measure in the first place.
The Ford government once again failed everyday people in order to align themselves with corporate interests.
We need the government to take action.
People expect their government to make sure there's fairness.
Fans are still willing to stretch their budgets to witness history.
800 max. Yeah, for like the 500 seats.
But for now, they'll have to hope this is more than a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Emergency crews are at Main Street in York due to a fire. There are lane closures in the area, so you can expect some delays here. As you can see, huge delays. Police and cadets are helping direct traffic. Look at these delays all the way down St. Mary's Road. Please avoid this area if you can. We'll be back after this. Here at Your Morning Winnipeg, we love Halloween, and that's why we're looking for a Halloween house to highlight during our October 31st show. If you think yours fits the bill, you could win a $500 gift card from St. Mary's Nursery and Garden Center and have the chance to show off your Halloween house live on Your Morning Winnipeg with a visit from our own Ainsley McPhail. To enter, fill out the form on our contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca and submit some pictures. All right, going to another spooky place this morning with Ainsley McPhail. The Dalnavert Museum is a beautiful place to visit, but there are some ghost stories there and a little bit of spookiness as well. Good morning.
Rochelle, absolutely. But before we get to that, I want to thank whoever wrote that contest, making the incentive. Of course, St. Mary's Nursery and Garden Center, awesome. But hanging out with Ainsley McPhail, because it's not that exciting, Sam. It's not that exciting. But we want to see those Halloween houses. Send them, please. Okay. Onto the Dalnavert. Sam, you've got something in your hand. Tell us why.
Yeah, so this is a carved rutabaga. And in the Victorian era, back in England and Ireland, they didn't have access to pumpkins the way we do now. So they would carve turnips and rutabagas. And this is my little example. And we'll be making our own versions of these at our Victorian Halloween bash on October 31st.
Mm-hmm. A lot easier to get into a pumpkin, I understand.
Yeah, it really is. Pumpkins are nice because they're naturally hollow. They have all the seeds in them, whereas this is like solid, so you got to get in there with a knife. It's a little bit more tricky, but it's definitely doable if you have patience.
I guess you might as well carve into a potato at that rate.
I mean,
I won't bore you with this anymore. Don't you worry. I've got more questions. The Halloween bash. This is for folks who aren't, rah-rah in the whole party, but they still want to enjoy their Halloween.
Yes, this is a little bit more of a low-key event, so you can come out and enjoy some historically inspired Halloween activities like carving turnips and rutabagas, but we'll also be doing some parlor games.
Mm-hmm. Rochelle mentioned that, the spookiness of this, and if you come for a tour, you definitely feel that. It's Manitoba after all. But what surprised me about a Victorian Halloween is that it almost feels like Valentine's Day. Please explain.
Yeah, so in the Victorian era, and still to this day in many cultures, there's a belief that the veil would thin on Halloween, and so it was a perfect time to be asking spirits for advice in all sorts of things. And if you are a young woman in a time where there's a lot less freedom and social mobility on your own, one of the things that you might be asking the spirits about is your love life.
Darn it, put her there. One is just looking into a mirror, so just Bradley Cooper? That's my best suggestion.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. And the weather today, it's starting off under zero, but it's going to warm up.
It's going to start to heat up. I was trying to think of a Bradley Cooper movie title to tie us in. It's a bit of a reach. I'll work on it. I'll think of it. Maybe Mother Nature is doing a Canadian hustle to heat up those temperatures, sort of. -3 degrees. A star is not born in those skies because the sun is starting to rise. How are we doing there? A couple clouds. I'm getting a look from Jay, get off this theme. And the graphic is done. They're put them out of their misery. Okay, a little bit of clear conditions to start us off. Some clouds still to the north. There was some snowfall in the northeast in Churchill. That has tapered off. However, that risk does continue for you throughout much of the day, only about a 30% chance. While we here, because of a ridge of pressure that's kind of moved into the province, have been locked in at very benign, mild temperatures and conditions for that matter. 7 degrees is our high today. That is seasonal. Winds will be light out of the southeast, very moderate, and a mix of sun and cloud. And then tonight, that's when we start to see that pressure move out and we start to see a little bit of movement in that upward trajectory in terms of our temperatures. 0, we're staying above freezing overnight. That's our first kind of indicator. Winds, however, are ramping up, not quite as banal, out of the southeast at 20 kilometers per hour. Maybe some fog patches. Those will dissipate into the morning hours. And from there, oh, apologies, this graphic should be different. It should be clear sunny skies because we've got lots of sunshine on the way with a high of 10 degrees. Strong southeasterly winds once again ramping up out of the southeast at 20, gusting at times to 40 kilometers from there. And then on Saturday, wow, it looks to be gorgeous. 15 degrees, nearly double a typical high for this year, or for this time of year, excuse me. And then we start to see some clouds roll in. Sunday will be warmer at 16 degrees under cloudy skies. Although, however, we are greeting next week with some rainfall with a high of 13 degrees.
Here's a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.32. The provincial average is lower at $1.29. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.31. And the lowest price in the city is $1.16. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
A Canadian podcast is having in-depth conversations with strong and inspiring women to encourage and connect with the everyday woman. The podcast is called The Honest Talk, and it's hosted by Jennifer Stewart and Catherine Clark. They both join us now. Good morning, Jennifer Stewart and Catherine Clark.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for being with us. Now tell us about your podcast, The Honest Talk. Why did you want to create this podcast?
So we started The Honest Talk in 2020 over a glass of wine before the pandemic happened, and the intent was actually to do a live event series. But of course, the word of the year, pivot, we pivoted to a podcast, and we really just wanted to break down the challenges and the opportunities that were in front of women. We felt that people weren't having conversations about the pathway professionally and personally and what that looked like. So we wanted to, go a bit deeper and have those conversations and not glorify the pathway of so many women, but understand what it actually looked like.
And what kind of guests are we chatting with here?
Well, we're chatting with women from basically every sector that you can imagine. Women in sports, women in banking, women in the cultural sector. So we've been privileged to have everyone from Canada's ambassador to the U.S., Kirsten Hillman, to musician Serena Ryder, to cabinet ministers. It's really been a neat journey, and it's been an opportunity to show that even though these women have reached incredible heights in their own careers, that they haven't done so without also facing challenges along the way.
And what are you hoping the podcast brings to the everyday Canadian woman?
I think it's really just that sense of unity with different women from across the country, coast to coast to coast. Like I said before, sometimes you put these women on pedestals because, externally they've had the perfect career or the perfect pathway, but everybody has challenges, everybody has opportunities, and more important than challenges, they have lessons learned that we can all glean from these conversations. So we wanted to kind of unify that conversation and kind of break down the speaking points and the key messages that we hear at a high level and dig a little deeper into their stories.
And what kind of response have you had from the audience?
We've had a great response. We've been so proud of the fact that this has really hit a vein for a lot of women. There is a sense for so many women that when they're going through something, they're going through it alone. And so the podcast is an opportunity for women to listen to the stories of other people who have faced challenges, climbed mountains, come out the other side, been okay, and learned things along the way. And it's just, it's been a real honor and privilege for us to be able to share these stories. And of course, then what it's allowed us to do is to go on and to create a media site under the Honest Talk banner and a series of live events where we can take these conversations nationally on the road too. So we're really excited about the partnership with iHeartRadio that gets this message amplified for women.
Have there been any conversations that you've had that have been surprising, maybe even shocking to you?
There have been so many shocking conversations, if I'm honest. We used to just record the podcast audio only, and sometimes I'd be sitting there with tears in my eyes or my jaw has dropped. One that stands out to me was a conversation with former Cabinet Minister Lisa Raitt, and she had kind of her first conversation with us about, you know, providing care for her husband, Bruce, who was suffering from early onset dementia. And she just was so raw and so candid about not being able to balance it all, you know, frankly, a violent confrontation with her husband in the kitchen. And it was those kind of conversations where it's like, you know, this woman perceivably has it all together, but behind the scenes she's dealing with caring for a partner, and so many of us are in that position of caring for a parent, or we have struggles in our personal life. And just the, you know, the raw candor of Lisa was pretty inspiring.
By sharing our stories, we women, we stand together. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, ladies. Congratulations. Here's a look at what's happening outside right now. It's -3. And look at that sky. It's gorgeous. We'll be back after this with more Your Morning Winnipeg.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
A clear and cool start to your Thursday. It's -3 out there. The wind chill cooling it down a bit from even that. A couple clouds here or there. Winds are light. Pressure's rising. Humidity at 99%. Lots of sunshine on the way on this Thursday. Not bringing a ton of heat just yet. As you can see, clear conditions as we begin the day. A little bit more cloud coverage to the north. Churchill had some flurries. That is likely tapered off. Also, what doesn't pick up on our radar is fog. We heard reports that Brandon has some freezing fog going on this morning. That should dissipate later on today. Meanwhile, the northeast has a slight chance of some rainfall or more likely flurry activity, particularly in Island Lake. Churchill's already seen some. The rest of you, decently overcast in Thompson. Gillam, a mix of sun and cloud. Highs there at about seasonal. A little bit warmer to the northwest with a bit more in the way of sunshine. 8 degrees in the Paw, 7 in Flin Flon. Cloudier skies inland lake at 4. Norway House has a chance of some rain as well. Southwestern Manitoba once again likely to be the hot spot here in Manitoba. A mix of sun and cloud. Clearer into the afternoon. 11 degrees all across the board with the exception of Nipoa, which is a touch cooler at 9. For us here in Winnipeg and surrounding regions, a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures hovering around the 7-degree mark for our highs, maybe a smidge warmer to the west of us there. And then the northwest. Oh, let's go. There we go, to the northwest. A mix of sun and cloud for you. Temperatures a touch cooler. 5 degrees in Kenora, 4 in Red Lake, Dryden, 7 degrees in Fort Francis. The sky is really not cooperating today. Overnight tonight, temperatures hovering around the freezing mark, maybe a couple clouds, potential for some fog as well. Friday, though, we start off decently clear with 10 degrees, and then the weekend is looking pretty warm. 15 is our high on Saturday under those clear skies. However, we start to see things cloud over on Saturday night into Sunday, even warmer under those cloudy skies at 16 degrees. And then Sunday night, the rainfall rolls in, setting a soggy start to the week.
Thank you, Catherine. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live this morning at the Dalnavert Museum. Where are you at? In the parlor?
Yes, we're in the parlor. I love it here. It's just so, it has a scent to it. It does. I know that sounds weird, but it's just, it feels old-timey. Okay, Samantha Machado joins us once again. Poe in the Parlor is the event coming up with nods to Gothic literature from that Victorian era. Tell us about it.
Yes, so on Friday and Saturday, we'll be having Poe in the Parlor, sponsored by Ravens and Books. And this is an event where you can come to this parlor right here and hear readings of Edgar Allan Poe poems and short stories, including his famous one, The Raven.
I looked this one up because we had a conversation about it. He made $9 for that one and for his most iconic piece. And it actually inspired the Baltimore Ravens NFL team. The more you know. When it comes to that, you know, those motifs and what you're bringing to the museum here, why do people enjoy it, the live reading?
Yeah, well, people, I think, really like to be able to experience literature of a certain era in a house that is emulating the style of that era. And so it really helps to bring to life some of the spooky vibes of the stories. So like if you think about a story like The Telltale Heart, where you're hearing a ticking heart under the floorboards, and you can imagine hearing that in here and the way that the rhythm of the story starts to get in your head, and maybe you start hearing noises. Is there a heart under the floorboards? Is it the ghosts in the house? What's going on? There's a lot of atmosphere that sort of builds upon itself when you're in an already spooky environment.
Well, I know that there's been a few stories. Have you personally experienced anything here at the museum?
I have never experienced anything, but I do know some people who definitely have.
Does it have something to do with the faucets?
Yeah, well, that's definitely one story that we've heard is the faucets turning on by themselves. And like not just a little drip, like full blast, totally open. Don't know how that happened. Could be ghosts, could be weird plumbing.
With all my plumbing experience, I'm not so sure that is normal. You have an event tonight you want to tell people about. It's also involving art, but just in a different form.
Yeah, so tonight is our final ghost painting event of the season, and you can come on down. It's at 7 o'clock. Please pre-register online, and it's an opportunity to update some old paintings and turn them into spooky Halloween decor.
Sam, thank you so much for this. Coming up at 8:06, we're showing you some extra creepy dolls.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Well, there's nothing like the excitement of bagging a big buck or gobbler. Experts from the American Heart Association urge hunters to be mindful of the strain hunting can put on their hearts and to take steps to protect their heart health. ABC's Alex Stone explains.
A combination of physical exertion, cold temperatures, and adrenaline may make hunters more susceptible to experiencing heart attacks or strokes. A lack of blood supply to the heart or brain is a medical emergency and can be especially serious if you're in the woods where medical help is far away. Signs of a heart attack include chest discomfort or shortness of breath. Signs of a stroke include facial drooping or arm weakness that is isolated to one side of the body and speech difficulties. Before hunting season begins, it's a good idea to see a doctor for a health checkup to make sure you're ready for the physical demands of the sport. Managing the physical stress that hunting puts on your body can help keep you safe and healthy.
Mickey, Minnie, and all their Disney friends are skating back into Winnipeg next month, and we want your family to join in the fun. Disney on Ice Let's Dance features all your fave characters, as well as some that are new to the ice. There's Elsa and Anna, Moana and Maui, Ariel, The Lion King, and Wish. Disney on Ice takes to the ice at Canada Life Centre November 7th to the 9th, and Your Morning Winnipeg has 2 family packs to give away to the Friday evening show. To enter, head to our contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca and fill out the form. Good luck. Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy 7th birthday, Neil. Love Mom, Nick, and Connor. Happy 9th birthday, Johnny. Love from your parents, grandparents, and family. Happy 6th birthday, Callie. Love always Grandma and Grandpa. And Papa, rather. Happy 39th birthday, Andrew. Lots of love from your wife and your beautiful children, Jalen, Andy, Jackson, and Jordan. Happy 65th birthday, Dennis, with love from your family. Happy 8th birthday, Madden. Love always Mom, Grandma, Grandpa, and your big brother, Parker. Happy 25th birthday, Ashton. Love Mom, Pops, Marissa, Henson, Hazen, and Cece Jr. And a happy 60th wedding anniversary to La Reine and Lucien. Love your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff. 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca.
Emergency crews are at Main Street in York due to a fire. There are lane closures in the area, so you can expect some delays, and these are some of the delays you can expect. Look at all these vehicles. Police and cadets are helping direct traffic, but nobody's moving anywhere fast in this area, so try to avoid it if you can. This is what it looks like. We'll be back after this break.
Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful, helping your home get holiday ready with blinds from Hunter Douglas.
Our high today is bang on what's normal for this time of year. We're cooler than where we sat last year and way off that record set back in 1963 of 25.6 degrees. We are still about 15 minutes away from sunrise, but it's starting to peak up slowly here in Winnipeg in the downtown region. Winds out of the west-northwest, very light at 5 kilometers per hour. Pressure's on the rise, humidity at 99%. So while we are off to a bit of a cooler start, many other regions, particularly in the north, are already feeling above seasonal temperatures. Good amount of sunshine on the way, particularly for the northwest under light winds. Temperatures there a few degrees warmer than what's typical this time of year, around the 6-7 degree mark. Cooler to the northeast, plus that slight chance of some flurry, maybe some rainfall mixed in there. Churchill has already seen the flakes fly this morning. Temperatures there cooler, just a few degrees above freezing. Here in southern Manitoba, mix of sun and cloud for us, lighter winds. Temperatures here in Winnipeg and surrounding areas like the Red River Valley, Interlake, for example, around the 7 degree mark as well, maybe 1 or 2 degrees warmer to the west of us. Speaking of the west, Westman, once again, the hottest part of our province likely, with temperatures peaking in the low teens with lots of sunshine and light winds.
He uses a knife, a hammer, and a crowbar to carve giant pumpkins, and Chris O'Kell is doing it for a good cause. It's called the Pumpkin Promise. For the past 12 years, O'Kell has been doing it to raise money for Cancer Care Manitoba. Joining us now is Chris O'Kell. Hello, Chris.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for doing this with us. Now, you brought your tools,
I
crowbar, hammer, knife, Sharpie.
Big Sharpie.
But these are huge pumpkins,
Yes.
so you need these kinds of tools to make this happen. Tell us a little bit about how this all began, the Pumpkin Promise.
Pumpkin Promise started because my mom was in love with Halloween and helping kids, especially the inner city core kids. Unfortunately, she passed away with cancer in 2010, and as she was passing, she said, "Promise me you'll continue to do this for the kids." Hence, Pumpkin Promise was born. Now, she didn't get to see these big pumpkins as, you know, she saw maybe the 100s, 200s.
Yeah.
Today, my biggest one this year is 1,400 pounds,
Oh my
a little bit over.
gosh.
Yeah, they're all over 1,000 pounds. So we carve. Yeah.
We have to talk about where you're getting these massive pumpkins, because you go to the Roland
Pumpkin Fair.
Okay, it's the fair, and it's a contest. It's a competition.
Yeah, once a year they all get together, growers from all over Manitoba, even one gentleman from the States. After COVID, of course, you know, he was finally allowed to come back in, but like I said, once a year they come together, they have their weigh off. I actually measure them. They have a little calculation just off measurements that they can figure out who's going to be the winner, but they do the ooh-ah on the scale, and they figure it out for bragging rights. And then these guys have been fantastic over the 12 years now. I have some growers that actually donate them to my cause now.
So they're not necessarily always putting them in this competition, but they're giving them to you anyway.
Yep.
And these are giant pumpkins. They weigh a lot. How much do they weigh about?
This year, the biggest one I have is 1,400 pounds, a little over 1,400.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of people to help out with this effort.
Yeah.
We're looking at some of the pumpkins from past years, and they're massive.
Yep.
And what does it involve to get them set up so that people can see them?
It involves my really, really good close friends. I think I had about 8 this year to come and help lift these things, and a skid steer this year with that really big one. Plus, we're not getting any younger. I've been doing this for 30 years just for the fun of it, but now 12 years for cancer. But yeah, we're not young, so we called in a skid steer to move these things.
So 12 years you've been doing this. You've raised over $104,000.
Yeah, I think so.
The first year you only got $50, but you were happy with that. But it's just
Literally.
getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, just word of mouth is where this event and how this event has been, you know, brought out to the public. I still have a ton of people that, you know, they come by and they're like, "We've never heard of this." So it is quite interesting when I hear that, and I'm actually really excited to explain. And then all these people I meet, they become family. So it's been quite the ride.
Cool. Okay, so how do you decide what face you're going to put on these pumpkins?
Well, after doing it for so many years, I actually called in a lady last year. She actually carves into the skin. And then my daughter, she's 16, Hennessy, I don't know, she's got the gift, and she got right in there watching what the lady did, and we just draw some stuff on there and give her.
So that's what the Sharpie is for?
Sharpie, knife, crowbar, and a hammer.
So what kind of response, like we're looking at some of these images, it looks beautiful when it's dark, of course.
Yeah.
What sort of response do you get from people in the neighborhood?
You know, that driveway is full. There's times where we don't even see a piece of concrete on that driveway. Even the street, it just becomes like an airport, basically.
Yeah.
There's lots of tears, there's lots of stories, and just people are shocked. I still get people to this day saying they're not real until I tell them to stick their hand in it and feel how slimy they are. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to do it again this year, obviously. You've got how many pumpkins ready to go?
I got 4 big ones at my house. There's another big one over at on River Road. My good friend Chris Grauman, he helps me because he works at Brett Young Seeds.
Yeah.
And without them, that's where my pumpkins are stored. I use all their equipment. They're an amazing company that back me all the time. Same with my Sobeys, all my locations, they donate my candy. Yeah.
Okay, we're almost out of time. If people want to support your cause or check out the pumpkins,
go online. There's an online donation, or they can come directly to my house at 39 Basinger in River Park South.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, look at this, how good this pumpkin looks with this toque. The Pumpkin Promise. If you want more information, we have a link on our website. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber.
Hello there, Kara Wagland in the SportsCenter newsroom with your must-see moment from Wednesday. And for it, we take you to Charlotte, where the Hornets were hosting the Nets. First quarter, LaMelo Ball throws it up to Brandon Miller for the alley-oop slam. Miller had a game-high 25 points, not 6-7, 6-7. The Hornets open up their season with a win. And here's your must-see moment from Wednesday. I'm judging myself so much right now. Tonight on TSN, we've got the Jets taking on the Kraken. Coverage for that game gets underway at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That's all for now from SportsCenter. Have a great day.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds, helping your home get holiday ready with Blinds by Hunter Douglas.
It's Thursday, October 23rd. Winnipeg homes shaking. How new bus routes may be leaving cracks in more than just streets. Plus, Foster Home pleads guilty. A Winnipeg organization admits to giving youth cannabis. And King Charles prays with the Pope. Could this historic Vatican service change centuries-old ties? Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. It's 8 o'clock on your Thursday morning. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. We have a lot in the next hour, including we're going to have the Children's Museum joining us at 8:45 to tell us how they're putting on a spooky event for the little ones on Saturday. It's called the Halloween Howl. And then at 8:15, we're going to talk about coats for kids. They give thousands of coats, ski pants, mitts, toques, you name it. They give them to thousands of kids, but they need your help right now. So we're going to have more details on that. But first, let's talk about the weather. It is kind of one of those days where you need mitts and toques.
You do. You need to start with the layers. We will be getting warm, not like we're going to be adding a parka, but again, we're going to be shedding layers into the weekend too. This is kind of that awkward in-between fall season that I happen to love. Currently, it's -3 degrees, 1 or 2 clouds out there. That sun officially rising. Winds out of the west-northwest. Pressure is on the rise. Humidity at 99%. Good amount of sunshine on the way for us, as evidenced on the radar. What doesn't pick up on the radar is fog. We heard about the potential for fog patches. Environment and Climate Change Canada reporting freezing fog in Brandon. That should dissipate later on today, this morning to be specific. To the north, cloudier to kick off the day, but good amount of sunshine is on the way. However, we've been dealing with some light instability, potential for some rainfall and flurry activity mix the last couple of days, particularly in that northeast corridor. You see a little speckling there. Those are those little disturbances that could be bringing that activity. Churchill did see some snowflakes this morning. That has tapered off. As the day progresses, you see these smattering of rainfall there in the northern areas of the province, while we stay, very clear. Overnight tonight, maybe 1 or 2 clouds building for us. Certainly that's the case in the north there. Light chance of some flurry activity. And then into tomorrow, that's when we really start to see things heat up for us here in southern Manitoba. Clear skies off and on throughout Friday. And then in terms of our temperatures, while today we are dealing with seasonal values to the tune of 7 degrees, it's likely our coolest day of many to come. 10 is what we're looking at on Friday. Even warmer on Saturday under those clear sunny skies at 15 degrees. Sunday a smidge warmer, however, those clouds do roll in. Your weather art of the day is care of 9-year-old Rosalie, who drew these gorgeous apple trees. I believe this is after the rainfall with some lovely flowers there. Thanks to Rosalie. And if you have any kids weather-themed artwork to share, send them our way. Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca. We're going to be showing one here every day on Your Morning Winnipeg.
The Weather Art of the Day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
A shakeup in Winnipeg transit is hitting more than the streets. Residents on Victoria Avenue East say their homes are feeling it.
We have cupboard shaking, we got a wall shaking, we have seismic damage showing up, we have cracks on this side of the wall.
Since the city changed transit routes this past June, more buses, including large articulated ones, have been rumbling down this 2-lane residential street. Residents like Aaron Ween say vibrations are causing cracks in windows, walls, and garages.
Maybe they've got too many buses for the frequency there. Maybe they don't have enough, probably too many. But they'll be reviewing that. If they have to remove some of the buses, they will.
Public Works Chair Janice Luke says lowering bus speeds could help while the city reviews the issue. In a statement to CTV News, a city spokesperson says in part, our planners did consider sending the FX3 down Pandora Avenue East. However, there are fewer potential passengers on that road, and it is already served by a feeder route. Having service on both Victoria Avenue East and Pandora Avenue East means shorter walks to reach a stop for people living and working on either side of both of those streets. We're not considering changing the route at this time. Cannabis stashed in a safe and staff rolling joints. That's what a Winnipeg courtroom heard Tuesday as a foster care organization pled guilty to giving children cannabis. Spirit Rising House, which operated 14 foster homes in Manitoba, made the plea as part of a bargain to stay charges against its directors and staff. A judge is instead ordering Spirit Rising pay $35,000 in fines. The organization's lawyer told the court the organization had no ill intent. Spirit Rising House primarily cared for highly vulnerable youth needing intensive support due to substance abuse and trauma. The defense said cannabis was used to manage the youth's behavior and was offered as an alternative to potentially using substances that could be more harmful. However, the Crown argued out of everyone given cannabis, only 2 people actually had prescriptions for it. King Charles and Pope Leo were part of an historic prayer service at the Vatican this morning. For the first time in 500 years, the British monarch and Pope prayed together. King Charles prayed on the altar at the Sistine Chapel as Pope Leo led the service. The King and Queen Camilla are on a state visit to the Vatican in a gesture to grow ties between the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church. Here's what's going on now on Main Street. Winnipeg police and cadets are directing traffic at Main and York. A fire there has caused some temporary lane closures, which is causing traffic to back up. Look how far back that traffic delay is. It goes all the way down St. Mary's Road. If you can avoid this area, you probably should if you don't want to expect any more delays on your drive into work. Let's go down to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at the Dalnavert Museum this morning. It's a really great place to visit. It's also spooky. Lots of cool stories there, too. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. This might be up for debate, but I think that the room we're in right now is the creepiest one, mainly because of the dolls. Now, we'll get to that in a moment. I'm joined by Ines Bonacosa, who's going to tell us all about it. You're with the collections registrar. Tell us about that role, because you, for the history buffs at home, it's pretty neat.
Well, I look after the collection, make sure that everything is in good shape, and then anytime that somebody approaches us for a donation, then we ask them to come to show us what they have, and together with the executive director, we make a decision whether to accept it or not.
So many treasures right here in Manitoba.
Absolutely, yes.
The dolls that are kind of spread throughout this bedroom, how do you obtain them?
They were all donations.
All donations?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
And for the Halloween season, they're kind of placed in here in this strategic way because they're creepy?
Some are. Okay. These ones are always here, and I'm responsible for part of the creepiness because I always describe them as the dead dolls. They are dressed in white, on white, everything. So they look awful, but so people find them very scary. Not this one as much because the head is made of porcelain, so it's really very pretty. The problem is with the next one. That one is made of wax. And wax doesn't age well. With time and humidity and changes in temperature, it starts to crack. So that makes them look
Well, her face is cracking, so yeah. She's a Dalnavert Chucky doll.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, but other than that, we have other dolls. And what happens for Halloween is that I make things worse because I position them differently. I have one doll coming out of that little bed, another one coming out from this one, and I brought an axe as well.
I hate to cut you off there. Cut you off. Axe. Terrible. Terrible. Kick me out. Okay. 8:38. We're still at the Dalnavert.
Okay. Thank you, Ainsley. Well, we have an update on the traffic situation now. The lanes on northbound Main Street have reopened to traffic following a fire, and things are starting to move again in this area. And there's your update. Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We're giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. A dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is spend. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word spend with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Tune in tomorrow for another code word. Good luck. An injured lynx will soon have a forever home. After weeks of treatment at Wildlife Haven, the feline is being taken in by Assiniboine Park Zoo. And as CTV's Joseph Bernacki reports, her new name reflects her origins.
This is Lumi. Her name means snow in Finnish.
We've just announced the lynx is in fact going to be transferred into care at the Assiniboine Park Zoo.
The 6-month-old cat is still recovering from a dog attack in August, where it's believed the pack likely killed her mother. Swan River locals drove 10 hours to bring her here to Wildlife Haven Rehabilitation Center, where they've been treating her injured eye, bringing in Manitoba's only veterinarian ophthalmologist.
Some of that damage is irreparable, unfortunately, and will require some pretty intensive surgeries and care going forward.
Luckily for Lumi, the road to recovery has been smooth so far, but she can't be released to the wild because her eye has developed a cataract, leaving her vision impaired.
She's been doing fantastic. You know, our team has done a lot of really good work in making sure that she's got all these enrichment items in her enclosure.
But she can't stay at the Haven forever, so Assiniboine Park Zoo staff answered the call.
They're able to work with us as a partner to transition this lynx into our care, where it can live a very fulfilling life as an ambassador for its species and connect with our community.
Enright said the zoo has a long history of looking after lynx. They lost their former cat Bijou earlier this year at 22. Enright calls lynx the ghosts of the forest.
They have these gigantic feet to walk on the snow, but most people, even those who spend time in the boreal forest, never get to see a lynx.
It's not clear when or if Lumi will be on display to the public. Enright said she will need more surgery, but she'll be well looked after. Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The Bathfitter Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Bit of a crisp start to your Thursday, but that sun is up with a smattering of clouds. -5 degrees. That wind chill making it feel a few degrees cooler. Winds out of the west-northwest very light. Barometric pressure's on the rise. The humidity sits at 98%. Sunshine and very banal conditions, if you will. That's because an upper ridge of pressure has kind of locked in very similar weather conditions for the last number of days. That will be changing in the days to come. Meanwhile, we will be dealing with clear skies for us here in the south. Northern Manitoba off to a bit of a cloudier start today. For us here in Winnipeg, we're getting up to a high of 7 degrees. That's a typical high for this time of year. And those winds very light out of the southeast, ramping up to 10 kilometers per hour under that mix of sun and cloud. Overnight tonight, we do start to see a shift as that ridge moves out and we start to see a bit more deviation to the point that we're staying at freezing tonight with those winds once again ramping up out of the southeast at 20 kilometers per hour with a couple of clouds out there in the skies. And then tomorrow, lots of sunshine on the way and temperatures begin to creep up again. 10 degrees with some very strong southeasterly winds. And then from there, we're dealing with a very warm weekend, a bit of a mixed bag in terms of our sky conditions. 15 is what we're looking at on Saturday under those clear sunny skies. To the point, however, with that mercury only dipping down overnight to 10, which is higher than a typical seasonal high for this time of year. However, it stays warm, but the clouds do roll in and stick around into Sunday with a high of 16 degrees. Coats for Kids needs your help. We're going to get details on what they need. That's just ahead.
Haunted, spooky, or just plain fun. Here at Your Morning Winnipeg, we love Halloween, especially those decorated yards and homes, and that's why we're looking for a Halloween house to highlight during our October 31st show. If you think yours fits the bill, you could win a $500 gift card from St. Mary's Nursery and Garden Center and have a chance to show off your Halloween house live on Your Morning Winnipeg with a visit from Ainsley McPhail. To enter, head to our contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca, fill out the form, and submit some pictures. Good luck. From mod cuts and shags to mullets and fades, a Manitoba barber has hung up his clippers after more than 6 decades in the biz.
Now they're cutting it too short as far as I'm concerned.
Meet 86-year-old Leonard Garashevsky. He started cutting hair 66 years ago, primarily at his barber shop in Saint-Rose-du-Lac, about 300 kilometers northwest of Winnipeg. And now we're celebrating his retirement just a couple of weeks after he gave his final cut.
I still miss it, but I know I can't do it, so I miss it very much. It's just missing people.
Garashevsky says it's always been about the customers and their loyal support. And if you're wondering his favorite do of all time, a classic brush cut. They help keep city kids warm in the winter by providing free coats, boots, ski pants, and more. The United Way Winnipeg's Coats for Kids collects and hands out thousands of coats and other winter gear every year. Their campaign is on now, and they need your help. Joining us now from the United Way Winnipeg is Heather Block. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, always a privilege.
Well, it's nice to see you. Now, Coats for Kids has been around for a long time, but every year the need is greater. Tell us a little bit about what it is and what you do exactly.
Yeah, every year we collect thousands of coats from Winnipeggers, so thank you to everyone who has donated in the past. And those coats and snow pants and boots and other outer gear are distributed to Winnipeg children across our city every year.
Oh, so these are donated, gently used coats and gear, right?
Gently used, yes. We always want kids to feel good about themselves when they're leaving home, going to school, so that they feel like they fit in with their other friends when they're out.
And this all started because someone noticed some children coming to school and they had no coats?
Yeah,
right?
So there's lots of children actually in all parts of the city that don't have warm winter wear, and it might be because of poverty. It might be a newcomer family that hasn't experienced a cold winter before, but not having a coat can really get in the way of school attendance and participation with their classmates.
Or recess time, which is also very important, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're asking for the public to support this cause by donating some of those gently used items, and you're looking for everything from jackets,
boots, snow pants, scarves, mitts. We have a particular need right now for sizes 8 to 10. Those are hard sizes for us to get for both boys and girls.
Okay.
For both the coats and the snow pants, also need scarves and larger size coats.
Okay, for boys and girls.
For boys and girls, yeah.
Okay, so if someone's at home right now and they have maybe a jacket they don't wear anymore, but it's still in pretty good shape, what should they do?
They can drop them off at a fire hall, at an access storage, or there's a number of other sites. They can go on our website and see where the closest storage or reception site is for them.
Meantime, if someone notices either a teacher or a daycare staff worker, they notice a child come in without a proper, attire, what should they do?
So the process that we have is, rather than people contacting us directly, they would talk to exactly what you're talking about, a teacher, a child care worker, or a social service agency. Ask them to put in an order, and then the organization will put in orders for all the kids who need, who are connected to their organization. We have volunteers who will put together the kits of clothing for each kid and get it out to the organization where it will go straight to the kid.
Let's talk about the volunteers, because without them, none of this would be possible.
None of it would happen, no. They're incredible. The volunteers, when the coats first come in, they sort through them, make sure that they're gently used and that it's just the outerwear for winter. They clean them, or they send them. We have a number of hotels who do the cleaning for us. then when they come back, they sort them again and fill the orders and package them and also deliver them out to the organization.
And I can imagine once those kids get those coats that they need, they're pretty happy.
They're pretty happy, yes.
And warm and cozy.
They are.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you wanted to support the cause, Coats for Kids, we have a link on our website. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It is clear, sunny, and a little bit brisk out here on this Thursday morning. -5 degrees, a little bit cooler than that with the wind chill in effect. Winds light out of the west-northwest, pressures on the rise, humidity at 98%. So while we will be dealing with a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day, not terribly warm. I should preface it. It's typical. It's seasonal. 7 degrees is what we're looking at here in Winnipeg with light winds. To the southwest in areas like Brandon, Neepawa, Dauphin, maybe a bit warmer, likely in the low teens. You've been kind of the hotspot of the province for the last couple of weeks to come. Lots of sunshine on the way for you as well, with some light winds. To the north, a little bit more cloudy in the northeast. Still that light chance of rainfall, flurry, sleet, if you will, in the very northeast corner. Churchill did see some flurry activity today. It's a slight chance. Temperatures there a few degrees above freezing. A little bit warmer in the northwest, where you will deal with more of a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures decent, about 7 degrees. Overnight tonight here in southern Manitoba, we'll see 1 or 2 clouds, maybe some fog as well. That'll hang on into tomorrow. Notable though, Winnipeg, our overnight low hovering at around 0, not dipping below freezing. It's kind of a harbinger. We've got some hot temperatures on the way. I'm using the H word there in late October, no less. Into tomorrow, a high of 10 degrees with lots of sunshine. And then Saturday, we are into a high of 15 with lots of sunshine. Your Skywatch picture of the day, a very good boy, helping with the combining duties there. Thanks for submitting that, cute one, Diane. And keep your weather pictures coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca. We're taking a break here on Your Morning Winnipeg. Stay with us.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
All right, with Halloween just around the corner, we have a fun meal the kids are going to want to dive into. Cassidy Kasdorf joins me from Manitoba Turkey today. Tell everybody what we're going to be making.
Yes, we're going to be making a stuffed bell pepper filled with turkey, so it's a great source of lean protein. So it's great for before trick-or-treating to get lots of nutrients in them before they have all this candy.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such a busy night too. And we're going to tell you why it's so fun in a second when we talk about the little jack-o'-lantern face on our pepper. Anyway, before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about what's going to go into them and why it is such a healthy snack.
Absolutely. So we're going to start with our rice. So we have our rice pre-cooked, so you can plop that right in the pot there. And then we're going to add in our ground turkey. So ground turkey is packed with protein. And so that's why I love incorporating it into so many meals. And it's great for flavor. So we're going to add that turkey in.
Love that.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now, do you mind
and that one, TV purposes, that was also cooked in advance, right? So the rice and the turkey were both prepared ahead of time.
Yes, so it's also super easy to prep in advance as well.
Nice.
So you can have this made the night before and easily put in your peppers the day of.
Excellent. Okay, what else is going in? What order are we doing
So
things?
now we're going to do our black beans.
Okay.
So you rinse all your
doubling
black
up on the
beans.
protein here.
Yes, absolutely. Then we're going to add in, we have some already cooked onions. So you're just going to lightly saute your onion in advance. So you're going to plop that in and give it a good stir.
Excellent.
Perfect. There we go. Now we've got a few different spices here. We've got some taco seasoning and a few other ones mixed together already. So we're going to plop that in.
Oh, see? A little bit of flavor now, and it's already starting to smell so good.
Exactly. So it's full of flavor. Now we're going to add in our salsa, and then cheese goes last. So once this is all nicely combined together, then we're going to add in that cheese and let it fully melt.
Oh, so the cheese goes into here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to do this one more quick stir here. Excellent. Then we add the cheese. This is all going to melt down. It's going to look delicious.
Yes,
let's talk about this face that's going to happen.
Perfect. So we're going to do a little pumpkin face on it. You can have fun with it, do whatever you want. So that's what makes it festive.
I love that. Okay.
Now we're just going to chop off the top of your bell pepper.
Yeah.
And then you have the center here. So you want to go around the inside and just pull out that center.
All right, this one you'll probably do yourself. We won't get this with those sharp knives.
Yes, exactly.
You can do the stirring on the stove in the meantime. And then you've carved out their little face there too.
Yes, so you just take a small little paring knife and you carve out the little face on there.
Yeah, we'll hold that right there.
Yeah.
Look at that. How cute is that little face? Sweet. All right,
Perfect.
and now we're going to take our mixture, which is already put together
Yes, so now we have our completed
Loaded
mixture.
up, right?
Exactly. Do you want to spoon it into the
For
jack-o'-lantern?
sure I do.
Awesome.
All right. And you're just going to like fill these right to the brim?
Yes,
Whoops.
right to the top.
I'm making a mess already.
You want it nice
happens.
and full. Exactly.
All right.
So you're
Especially
getting your...
if you've got kids or Terry cooking with you, there's going to be a mess.
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
So right to the top there.
Okay. And then you've got a little jack-o'-lantern hat for them.
Yes. So then you're just going to top it. Perfect. And then you're going to put it in a baking dish and you can bake it.
Excellent. So what temperature are we throwing the oven on?
So it's going to be 350.
Okay, so make sure that you do that in advance, of course, right? You're going to have to preheat that.
Yes. And then you're going to put some tin foil over top for cooking just to keep that heat in, and then the pepper will actually soften because that heat stayed in there.
Very nice. How long do they need to cook for?
So 10 minutes covered, and then take your tin foil off in another 15 minutes.
Quick and easy, not to mention delicious and adorable. Thanks so much for sharing this recipe. Where will we find it?
You're welcome. You can find it on Turkey Producer's website.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
It's sunny to start us off on this Thursday. That mercury will soon reflect it, but for now, struggling to get above freezing. A couple clouds here or there, light northwesterly winds. The barometric pressure is rising, humidity sitting at 98%. Good amount of sunshine on the way, and again, those temperatures still a little bit cool, as is typical for this time of year, but we're kind of one of the coolest spots in the province right now. Areas further to the west of us, like Brandon at -4, Roblin at -2, Dauphin at -4. Same goes for you folks in Swan River. I'm going to step out of the way because I'm always blocking these. Meanwhile, it's much warmer in the north. Temperatures there already above freezing. For much of the province, we'll be dealing with lots of sunshine, though there has been a good amount of fog already in the Brandon region, freezing fog. That'll dissipate later on today, leaving behind a mix of sun and cloud. That'll be the case as the kids take lunch, 4 degrees with a couple clouds out there. And then on the way home, we're heating up to 7. That's also our high for this time of year. So I think this time of year is all about the layers, because what they get on the bus with, they'll want to be peeling off when they take lunch. Overnight tonight, temperatures dipping down to 0. Notable, we are not dipping below freezing, and we will start to see those southeasterly winds ramp up. That'll be the case into tomorrow as we heat up. 10 degrees under those sunny skies, strong southeasterly winds at 20, gusting at times to 40 kilometers per hour. And then Saturday looks to be picture perfect. An above seasonal high of 15, clear sunny skies. Overnight, we're only losing a little bit of heat to the tune of 10 degrees. However, with it comes the clouds, likely an overcast one, another hot high of 16.
Winnipeg emergency crews dealt with a fire on Main Street that caused traffic backups into the downtown this morning. Fire crews were called to a business on Main Street at York Avenue shortly after 5:30 this morning. There they found smoke and flames coming from the building. The fire was declared under control an hour later, but temporary road closures continued. The fire is under investigation. No damage estimates are available at this time. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is warning the annexation of the West Bank would endanger the peace plan in Gaza.
That's a vote in the Knesset, but obviously I think the president's made clear that that's not something we'd be supportive of right now, and we think there's potentially even threatening to the peace deal. So they're a democracy, they're going to have their votes, people are going to take these positions, but at this time it's something that we think it might be counterproductive.
An annexation bill has advanced in Israeli parliament. Rubio is in Israel today working to keep a truce between Israel and Hamas in place. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has also been in Israel for the same reason. Meanwhile, the International Court of Justice says Israel has a legal obligation to allow aid into Gaza. An advisory opinion from the court says Israel hasn't substantiated its allegations the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees lacked neutrality, or that a significant number of its staff were members of Hamas. The Louvre's museum director now says a weak and aging security system left them open to the theft of millions of dollars of French crown jewels. Speaking publicly for the first time since the heist on Sunday, the director told French senators that the only camera monitoring the exterior wall of the Louvre where thieves broke in was pointing away from the first floor balcony that led to the Gallery of Apollo, which was housing the jewels. Despite the museum's huge volume of visitors, which was 8.5 $1.7 million last year alone. Investment in security has been slow, with the director highlighting budget challenges big institutions face. As the Toronto Blue Jays prepare to take on the Dodgers, their fans are also getting ready. CTV's Rahim Lahani has more on the superstitions fans are hoping will bring the team good luck.
Inside this Kensington Market bakery, there's one flavor you could say is good luck.
Coconut cream pie.
That's Wanda Beaver. She and her husband David own Wanda's Pie in the Sky. During the World Series in 1993, coconut cream pie was Joe Carter's favorite, and he was craving a slice to be delivered before the historic Game 6.
He was sitting there with a couple of other fellows, and he said, well, how much do you want for that? And I go, tell you what, make you a deal, Joe. You can have the pie for free. You just have to return the pie plate when you're done with the pie, after you win the World Series, I said. And he goes, sounds like a deal.
And we all know what happened next.
It's the pie that won the World Series. That's what we used to call, we still call it. Now we're getting people coming in and they go, I heard your stories. I want a coconut cream pie. Is the magic? The magic is still there. And every time that happens, they win.
As the 2025 Blue Jays gear up for their first World Series appearance in more than 3 decades, a lot of fans have their own superstitions they'll be following.
I've had 3 beers each game that they've won, so 3 beers consistently.
Same jersey, same hat. Around the 7th inning, just before it started, rally cap on.
While everyone has their own game day ritual for the World Series, it might have been Vladimir Guerrero Jr. himself who broke Toronto's Game 7 playoff curse. Vladdy walked into the ballpark ahead of the Jays' deciding game against the Seattle Mariners wearing an Austin Matthews Maple Leafs jersey. Anxious fans feared the fashion choice, as the Leafs have lost all 3 Game 7s they've played in the Matthews era. But Guerrero went on to win the ALCS MVP, and the Jays punched their ticket to the World Series.
Everyone in here is rooting for the Jays right now, obviously, so it's I'm sure it's the same thing when they're coming to our games, but for him to show some love and respect to Austin is obviously well-deserved. It's great to see from Vladdy.
Back at Wanda's, they say if any Jays player is looking for dessert ahead of this World Series,
Joe Carter had a good idea, and it worked for him. Maybe it can work for you, too.
Yeah.
One slice may lead to the sweetest win of all. Rahim Ladani, CTV News.
Here's a look at the current traffic situation now on Osborne Street. It looks like things are moving. It looks like they're stuck at a red light, so things appear to be fine over here. We have no issues to tell you about in this part of the city. Here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average stands at $1.32. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.29. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.31. And the lowest price in the city is $1.16. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
For our question of the day, we wanted to know, what's your favorite scary movie? Marlene says, I like Stephen King classics and Dracula ones. Yes, thank you, Marlene. Betty is a big horror fan and tells us she loves Saw, Clive Barker's Lord of Illusion, 13 Ghosts, and the Winnipeg Cult's classic Phantom of the Paradise. Helen says, none. I don't like scary movies. Okay, thanks, Helen. Jackie says, I love horror thriller movies, so I could flood with answers, but 1987's Hellraiser, 2008 The Strangers, and 2012 Sinister are faves. Anne says, Misery with Kathy Bates and James Caan. The jazz kept me on the edge. Donna says, I've seen them all, but the remake of Evil Dead is one of my favorites. It's also her birthday today, so happy birthday to you from us here at Your Morning Winnipeg. Mine is The Changeling, by the way, but thanks so much for your responses. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who is live at the Dalnavert Museum. Good morning.
Good morning. What a nice transition from a spooky movie to a real life house that some people might find spooky. Michael Hems joins us now to tell us all about some of the tours, and Death at Dalnavert is one that they're featuring right now for the Halloween season. What can people expect, Michael?
Right, so we're running Death at Dalnavert from Thursdays to Sundays all throughout October. We have 2 slots available each of those days at 1:30 and 2:30. However, starting this Saturday, we're adding an additional slot at 12:30. However, there is limited availability, so we do recommend that people book ahead before joining us for the tour. So the tour talks a little bit about death and mourning in Victorian culture. So we focus here a little bit on Canada, but we branch out a little bit on the broader Anglo culture in the United States and England, because it was all interconnected at the time. So grieving was a elaborate process in the 19th century. So not only did people attend funerals or have seances or all sorts of communications with spirits and the dead, they also dressed in such a way that indicated their stage in the grieving process. So primarily for women, there were 3 stages of elaborate dress for mourning. So there was the first stage of mourning, which lasted for a year and a day, the second stage, which lasted for 9 months, and then the third stage, which would last from 3 to 6 months. So they would be elaborate dresses and detailed jewelry of jet black amulets and rings and things like that, but only primarily in the later stages of mourning. For men, mourning was a little bit simpler. It would be from 3 to 6 months, and they would often just wear a black armband or a black band around their hat.
Wow. Okay. So, and it's all 3 stages they're wearing black.
They're wearing all black. So in the first stage, it would be primarily black with limited jewelry. The second stage, they would start to indicate or incorporate a bit more jewelry and a bit more accessories. And by the third stage, it would just start to be more some form of black on their person.
This sounds really like a silly, I don't have time to ask a question, but this sounds like a silly thing to say. But imagine multiple people are passing away. It just feels like over time you'd be constantly wearing black. Okay, I'll have to ask him off camera. Sorry, we're out of time. Death at Dalnavert, or take those few spots left.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop. Catherine, what's your favorite scary movie?
You know, I love Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
And I also love Scream, because I am a millennial. So it's like, what about you, Rochelle?
Well, I said it earlier. It's The Changeling with George C. Scott. It's so creepy. It's so good. The music's fascinating. It's a good one. You should check it out.
I should watch it this Halloween.
Yes.
Already not so spooky out here, Rochelle. Kind of the opposite, unless it's one of those really scary movies where the bad things even happen in the daylight. Lots of sunlight to enjoy. -5 degrees. That wind chill making it feel a bit more like -7. Winds are light, pressure's on the rise, humidity at 98%. There's a few pockets of clouds, as will be the case throughout much of southern Manitoba. Mix of sun and cloud on the way. Temperatures typical for this time of year. For Winnipeg, that's 7 degrees. There'll be a few degrees warmer to the southwest. Areas like Brandon, Dauphin, you could be in the low teens. The northeast is likely a bit cooler and dogged by a good amount of cloud coverage, maybe some flurries. Churchill had some early this morning. Slight chance for some disorganized flurries falling off and on throughout the day. Meanwhile, northwest, more sunshine for you. Temperatures a little bit warmer, around the 7-degree mark. For us here overnight in southern Manitoba, more fog could be on the way. It's a foggy morning in Brandon. A couple clouds, winds really ramping up out of the southeast. But then tomorrow, that mercury is set to rise. 10 degrees here in Winnipeg, and we get even warmer into the weekend. All right, we're going to take a break, pay a couple bills here on your Morning Winnipeg. Don't go anywhere.
Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
The reigning champion LA Dodgers have plenty of firepower, but the Jays also have their share of star power. CTV's Heather Wright compares the two sides ahead of Game 1 of the World Series.
Tinseltown versus Hogtown. Hollywood versus, well, Hollywood North. The World Series heads to Toronto this week. 2 teams, 2 cities, but only one champion.
Nervous, a little bit of an upset tummy, but I think we can do it. I think the Blue Jays have more spirit. They play like the team is even all the way down from 1 to 9, and they play like a team.
As they were at the start of the season, the Dodgers are the betting favorites to win their second World Series title in as many years.
She's gone!
Well, the Blue Jays have gone from worst to first, finishing dead last in the American League in 2024 to winning it all this year.
I think that it's anybody's game, and I think the Jays are the underdogs, and the underdogs always come out.
The LA Dodgers have won 8 World Series in their history compared to 2 for the Toronto Blue Jays. And when it comes to payroll, both teams may be big spenders, but LA has doled out far more cash for stars like Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts.
The Dodgers' payroll is closer to $350 million, whereas the Blue Jays is about $250. So 100 million, that's a huge gap, right? That's another Shohei Ohtani or two, right? That they can afford with that difference.
And while the Dodgers took the season series against the Blue Jays 2-1, the Jays have the better regular season record and have earned home field advantage because of it, which at least one statistician says gives the Jays a slight edge.
When I did a simple statistical model and just tried to put it all together, I'm currently estimating Toronto with a 52.46% chance of winning the World Series.
At the end of the day, though, there really is only one number that matters, and that is 4. 4 games to win the World Series. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
If you're looking for something fun and not too spooky for the kids this Halloween season, the Manitoba Children's Museum is hosting an event that'll be perfect. It's called the Halloween Howl, and it'll include hands-on interactive activities for the entire family. Joining us now from the Children's Museum is Brady Kidd. Good morning, Brady.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
The Halloween Haunt or Howl is a really great way to get the little ones involved with Halloween without freaking them out too much, right?
Oh, 100%. It's just a good, safe space for kids to enjoy a nice Halloween event. It's a little bit before Halloween, so it kind of saves parents a little bit there too from the running around. But yeah, overall, it's just a great, safe place for kids to have some trick-or-treat fun.
And it's not just about the candy. It's not just about wearing a really cool costume, but it's also about using their brains and using their hands. Tell us about some of the activities.
Oh, exactly. Like, for example, we have a awesome coffee filter bat craft we have going on, so that's really good for fine motor movements, cutting stuff up like that as well. We also have graffiti arts program as well, doing a secondary craft, a puppet craft as well. So just some good hands-on movements, especially for those fine motor skills for small kids.
And some really cool interactive things, like even a puppet show.
Yeah, 100%.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, kids can have their own puppet show there too. We also have some fun movement activities with DJ Mama Cudsworth coming in as well with an awesome dance party. 3 sets throughout the night of just some fun music fun there.
And it's a really great opportunity for mom and dad to get their kids involved with costumes as well, but not too crazy costumes. No knives, no fake knives or anything.
Yeah, exactly. We just ask no fake weapons, anything like that, of course, and ideally no masks as well, just to keep it safe for the night.
Okay, and so when they come to this event, what else do you want them to know?
Honestly, they can just come to the front. We'll be checking people in. We'll be giving them the goodie bags so kids can collect their treats up at the front as well. Yeah, so it'll just be a really good time. They can just come and have a good time.
And it's warm, it's safe, and everybody can have fun. It's really entertaining for the whole family, right?
Oh, exactly. I mean, we have other special guests, like Wildlife Haven is coming in as well. Unfortunately, they're not bringing in their baby lynx, but they will have some feathery friends with us as well there.
And what are the perks of that for kids?
You know what? They can learn a little bit more about the different wildlife we have in Manitoba, which is awesome. It's an awesome learning opportunity. And it's honestly just a good way to have kids experience new things. Is the biggest thing we want to try and push as well.
Okay, so if someone's never visited the Children's Museum, paint a picture for us. What is it like? What's going on in there?
Oh man, it's going to be a wild, no wild night, but just a good night in general. You know, you can come through the front door. We'll have admissions greet you. We'll get you all set up, and then you can go and explore the galleries. The doors open at 6 o'clock, and then all the activities and stuff actually start at 6:30. But it's all throughout all the galleries that we have there.
And there's some tickets available right now.
Yeah, there are some tickets available. You can call the museum. You could even come down to the museum to our front desk. But the best way is generally to go online. It's the easiest way for parents to do it nice and quickly to grab those tickets.
And when is this happening?
It is happening Saturday. Again, doors open at 6 o'clock, and all the activities start at 6:30.
And then it wraps up at 9:30, so it's not too bad.
No, exactly. It's kind of a nice early night for parents especially.
And what is the age group that you're aiming for here?
You know what, generally about 4 to 12 is about the age range. It can go a little bit higher, a little bit lower than that, but that's about the age range we shoot for to bring in and make sure they have a good time.
Such a fun party for the little ones. There's music. That's where you get me. Just dancing with your costume is such a good time. If you want more information, we do have a link on our website on how you can get those hands-on tickets. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is a great option because Manitoba kids know sometimes you pick out the best costume and it does not look the same when you have to stuff it over a parka because Mother Nature, she can be fickle. Today, though, she's relatively tame. We are a little chilly at -5. Couple clouds, but for the most part, nice and sunny. Winds are light out of the west-northwest. Pressure rising. Humidity sits at 98%. Lots of sunshine on the way for us. We'll still deal with a period of clouds or two, but there's not a lot to show you on the radar. It was a bit of a foggy morning in the southwest. That'll dissipate in good time. For us here, while we do have very banal conditions from that upper ridge of pressure that has been kind of hovering over the province, it does start to break up, and you can see the evidence as our mercury really starts to rise. Overnight, we're staying above freezing, a couple clouds, maybe some fog once again. Winds ramping up as well out of the southeast at 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. And then tomorrow, even warmer, gusty though, those southeasterly winds still staying strong, a high of 10 degrees. Saturday, wow, lots of sunshine, a high of 15. Sunday, though, we start to see the clouds roll in, a high of 16. And then overnight, it's likely to get a little damp. Grab the umbrellas because we're starting off next week on a soggy note. We're taking a break. More of your morning Winnipeg still to come.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Well, Catherine, let's wrap up this Thursday show with some fun video. An elephant calf at the Oregon Zoo is showing off some Halloween tricks.
What? Yes.
Oh. Look at this. Tullo 2 has turned a small pumpkin into a toy. It all started with an annual fall event where they give the elephants pumpkins to crush. However, she didn't crush hers and is instead kicking it around like a ball.
She barely had to try to crush that. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna put a little toe on it and it breaks.
Oh, so cute. Well, when you think of black cats, you probably think of bad luck, but not in Salem, Massachusetts.
It's beautiful. He's so soft.
Black cats are the star of the show there, especially at this time of year. The biggest star may just be Lucifer. He's a favorite around the city. His owner says he thinks it's because he's so calm, allowing anyone to pet him. He's cute.
Yeah.
Well, from a cat that's super chill to one that's channeling her inner Meowly Cyrus.
All my life, I will always want you. I came in like a
Pickle sure came in like a wrecking ball. Look at all the holes in the shower curtain. You can tell this isn't the first time this feline flung itself onto it, and probably not the last time either. That's great. That does it for us. Have a good day.